Get the track shots.
They need to find a shot. They get one on the Tigers. They find another on the Drock. Dark God Zip has the cap points.
Oh, and shifting of positions. It's going to be a huge reset. 30 seconds on the clock. And Dark God Zip finally gets reset. No, he's not going for it.
No,
he doesn't connect.
He doesn't have the shot.
Look at that shot. 1,195 onto Nationwide direct hit. Dark Ninja is reloading. He does not know.
Oh!
And that's it. Pompous is going to collect it.
Green, what is this? And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wargaming.net League North America. I am James Rockstar Grief, joined alongside by Randall Ruko Holcomb. Today is the playoffs. We find out which of our remaining 4 teams are going to join Elevate and Eclipse at our live finals on April 8th.
Yeah, can 07 repeat their performance from last season's playoffs? And who's going to come out ahead between Top Tier and Aquatic M60s?
We'll have more on that in just a second. But because today is the playoffs, we actually have a special guest today. We are going to be joined by our correspondent, Alex.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me here today. Obviously, super excited. Today is going to be incredibly monumental for 2 teams who get to participate in the finals, but I don't need to tell you that. You guys already know. If you are not following us on social media already, you are missing out on half of the action. So get on Twitter at WGLNA and also facebook.com/WGLNA. We are also going to be reading some of your replies live on show today. So use the hashtag WGLNA, and we're going to be reading those a little bit later on. For those of you who need a little bit more than just that kind of interaction, we also have our Fantasy League coming up with a very new finals edition. So get to wgl.gg/fantasy WGLNA. You're going to be competing against members across the entire community for prizes, for honor, for everything that you really care about. Speaking of finals, they are going to be live here in Burbank on April 8th, and you absolutely do not want to miss this. So head to esl.gg/WGLNA Fantasy 2017. And you can be here for prizes. You can be here for the swag we're going to be giving away, for the free food, which makes everything in life worth living, as well as some special guests if that's not enough. So with all that being said, let's get on over to our first match of the day, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Alex. That was wonderful. Glad to have you on the show. Let's take a look at the playoff bracket, see where we are right now. I want to show you guys this first off. So we're going to be looking at Dare Rising versus 07 first. Winner of that match faces Eclipse at our finals. That's going to be April 8th, about a month from now.
And then we have Top Tier up against Aquatic M60s. The winner of our second match tonight has to play their first round of our live finals against Elevate, the team that went undefeated this season.
Yeah, no one really came even that close.
Eclipse was the closest one, and that was a 5-3.
And even then, it felt like a little bit of a fluke. Elevate is the dominant force in this league, and that's what they're looking forward to at the finals. Eclipse close behind them, but Dare is the first team tonight, and we're going to be looking to see what they can do. But before we get into that, we want to hear from you. We want to hear about the question of the day. That's going to be, who are those 2 teams joining us at the offline finals? Is it going to be Dare, 07, Top Tier, or Aquatic M60s? Tell us your thoughts, your opinions. Use that hashtag WGLNA so we can find your tweets, feature them here on the broadcast.
Right now, Randall, who is it? Who do you think it's going to be? Put your 2 teams out right now.
All right. Dare for me. I want to say 07. Part of me wants to vote for that underdog. I'm voting Dare. And then when it's Top Tier Aquatic, I know the map picks already, so I'm voting Top Tier for now.
Yep, I think once again it's going to be close for 07. I think the map picks kind of go in their favor a little bit, but I think Dare just out-edge them on class just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Top Tier, I think, are just too hot this season. However, the one caveat, of the 2 teams to beat Top Tier during the second round robin this season, it was Elevate and Aquatic M60s. So they can do it.
Yeah, so the second match is going to be the close one. Hard to put a bet on that one, but if you ask, I'll say Top Tier. Now, let's get into the match in front of us. This is Dare Rising versus 07. We're going to look at Dare's roster first and talk a little bit about My Little Putin. He's the leader of the team, making the calls and also putting up sick numbers. He's the one I'm following.
Yeah, but talking about sick numbers, Aggressor, one of the top damage dealers for his team this season. they're going to need him to perform if they are going to put 07 to bed swiftly.
Yeah, his name is becoming more and more synonymous with the team itself, it seems, as the season goes by. But on 07's side, recently in a roster change, they got rid of Ledif going off to Eclipse, and they've replaced him with Arclet, who has changed the dynamic of the team significantly.
Yeah, and while they lost a superstar in an individual player, what they gained was a tactician in Arclet who's been around for a very long time, not afraid to think outside the box, bring some unusual strategies, and it really kind of fits in with 07 and their misfit kind of strategies they go for.
And the maps for this series are going to be Steps, Mines, Muravanka, Ruinberg, and Prohorovka. Now, Rox, your assessment of these maps?
Yep, and looking at it, Steps and Mines, those are two maps that 07 actually stand a decent chance on. However, like we said, we definitely think that Dare are the stronger team. So if 07 can keep that close, keep it, say, 2-2 going in there, the next two maps are Muravanka and Ruinberg. Those are maps that we traditionally call 1-in-1 maps. Maps that it doesn't really matter how good they are, the defenders should win. And if they can do the right things, all of a sudden we're looking at a 4-4 series that's going to rely on one round to decide which of these two teams is going to move on.
Yeah, and to tell us all about their thoughts to this match, we're going to be joined by the representatives of Dare Rising and 07. Gentlemen, welcome to the face-off. We have Aggressor and Meadowhawk. Now, we won't ask you the question of the day, seeing as you guys are fighting to prove what the answer to that will be. So I'll let Rox start this one off with Aggressor.
All right, well, Aggressor, you guys are here. You're one match away from claiming your second trip to the live finals. What have you guys done to prepare for today? What does this match mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot. Going to LAN is always a very good thing, especially now we're sponsored. You kind of have to go. And practice, lots of practice every day. Lots of thinking about what 07's going to do, trying to counter them and stuff like that.
All right, fair enough.
All right, well, I'll jump over to Meadowhawk, actually. Meadow, well, what, is that a shrine to...
J-Smooth?
Yeah, is that a shrine to J-Smooth?
Yes, dearly departed, we're gathered here tonight to celebrate the life that was this great guy, Jay Smooth. It wasn't that long ago that he left us, but he came back to us like the prodigal son. So everyone can, keep their fingers crossed and hope he might return, although I'm not sure if there's enough footage for a third retirement montage video. I've written him some words.
You feel free to read those now, sir. Feel free.
Goodbye, Jay Smooth. It seems to me that you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never fading with the sunset when the rain set in. And your footsteps will always fall here in the WGLNA halls. Your candles burned out long before your legend ever will. Your candles burned out long before your legend ever will. Can everyone now please bow their heads? In Serb's name we pray, our Father, who art in a hellcat, in Jesus be thy name. Thy king mouse come, thy will be done, because WTF German bias.
Amen.
Give us this day our daily doubles, and forgive us our TKs, as we forgive those who TK us. And lead us not into capping, but kill all. For thine is world of tanks. We battle for glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen.
Peace out to you, Jay Smooth.
Peace
I'm not religious.
I told the guys I wouldn't cry.
It's okay. It's okay. We're all friends here.
Let's get the Fs going in Twitch chat for J-Smooth.
All right, guys. Aggressor, I'll give you the final word on that one.
Hopefully you put more effort into your practice than that. Good luck.
All right. Fighting words, gentlemen, we will see you on the battlefield. Thank you so much for joining us on the face-off. And I'm gonna need a minute after that one.
So beautiful.
That was actually really well done.
I thought of a tear in my eye.
I thought he was gonna end it there, but he went for the long form of the prayer, and that really threw me off. That was a curveball because he gave that one pause, and I thought he was gonna go for it. He went with the long form, the full version.
Yeah, but then we heard Aggressor, though, say, I hope you put more effort into your practice because they're going to need it tonight.
I mean, that's a fair point. If they spent more time working on that poem or that prayer than they did working on their practice, they'll be in trouble. But 07, 07 always is the underestimated team, aren't they?
Well, and that's what happened last season against M60s. Everyone was just like, all right, M60s is going to do this. They'll take 07, and then all of a sudden we were watching the 5th, 6th place match with M60s versus Rival, and they ended up losing that one as well, falling all the way from 3rd place to 6th place.
Yeah, and so 07 is just whatever they show up with. That's the 07. It's not like you'll see them one match day to the other improving and kind of sliding back down or up. It's they show up any given Sunday. They could be as hot as they ever are, or they could just flop.
And then Arclet. What is he going to bring? He could bring something that no one has ever seen before today. We don't know.
Yeah, the new mouse meta.
The
That's
possibility is endless.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, what is it? It's been maybe 2 weeks?
3 weeks now, I think.
Really? 3 weeks even? It hasn't been that long since the new mouse patch came out. And with that, we had all of this history of strategies, tank lineups, choices that players were messing around with, trying to get better and better, competing in that area. The new mouse meta changes things up. Everyone has to take a step back, reevaluate the situation, every map, and how the dynamics are changed by the new tank choices.
Right.
And then, of course, we've seen some of those changes, and as time goes on, you're gonna probably see Arclight come out with something crazy.
Well, and we've been seeing stuff that we've never seen happen before. We've seen mouses show up on Prokhorovka all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's it's completely out there. So
JPEs are now like not an odd thing, or E4s. It's instead of being a pick, 2 months ago, where we're like, why are they bringing an E4? Why are they bringing a JPE? Just doesn't really fit.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like, just bring in another JPE. Or don't get me started. The T95.
oh.
T95. Well, it's just like, we'll just bring T95, and no one even bats an eye anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like all of these tanks that used to just be invalidated because they weren't flexible or they were too slow, the armor wasn't effective enough. Now it is. Or now it counters something like the mouse that has enough armor, or the Type 5 that can just deal 500 damage to whatever it touches.
Yep. Or
somehow.
you have the grilled, lose a little bit of its mobility, DPM, so all of a sudden it can't perform as well. So now all of a sudden they have to look at what tank is really the best in that role. Now there's other options. That's where we start seeing the E4 come in, and just a lot of different options. All of a sudden, you never know what they're going to bring, and there may be something that we haven't even seen or thought about that they may break out.
Yeah, and well, we've talked enough about it now, Rox. Let's go ahead and just get straight to it. It's map number 1, battle number 1.
Steps, the most open map in the league. The attacking team appears near the rocks at the bottom of the map, and the defending team starts at the top. Bases are located near the railway and on the green. The best way to control them is to use the lowland near the second base. The attacking team usually begins the attack from the rocks and the railway, but sometimes they can attack through the green. Teams often drag vehicles from flank to flank, so both teams usually pick light vehicles with a good camouflage rating, but sometimes use tanks with a strong turret and even SPGs.
And here we are sitting talking about the Arclit effect. 07, 2 mouses, 3 bat chats, an Object 261, and a UDIS. Meanwhile, Dare Rising, an IS-7, 4 bat chats, an S-Tank, and a Lorraine 155.
All right, Object 261, weird choice, a tier 10 artillery with a relatively low arc. It's a fast firing time, doesn't have huge splash. It's not a bad choice for steps. Now,
it is a Russian laser cannon, is what it is.
The one thing about it, the one criticism everyone has, is that the arc is just a little too low.
On a map like Steps, what do you need arc for?
Yeah, that's the thing, though. You could bring it. But then the real question then is, what about the points? Isn't spending 10 points on our arties a little inefficient next to maybe a tier 9
They
or 8?
brought a tier 10 artillery. They have 2,000 more HP than Dare Rising do from the start because of these 2 mouses. Does it really matter? And it looks like we might actually have... No, they're here. They're just taking forever, these mouses. Just sitting in spawn.
Yeah, they're just... No, this actually looks like it's part of the tactic. It looks like 07's deciding to leave them back so they don't get spotted and sniped out. Because look at it. With the Lorraine and with the S-Tank, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Dare's approach is likely, let's spot some of the mouse. We need to deal enough damage so that they're whittled down and we can make our attack. If not, if you try to attack the number 1 cap, the northwest cap, and you're not really, you haven't really made a dent in those in the mouse armor, you're going to get defeated. There's too many hit points. They can roll up and over the hill when it gets later in the battle, reset cap, and it's over. Right? You just won't have time to get all the kills that you need in the traditional approach to steps, which is go to the west, slow play it, see if you can snipe a few things here and there, catch something out, force a, you know, those little things we usually see. They're kind of playing with your opponent, you know,
Right.
that little dance, and the mouse disrupts that.
Yeah, and the other thing you have to remember, though, is these mouses have to stay unspotted and low for a long time. They do not want to get spotted too early because Dare do have a Lorraine 155, and while it's not a tier 10 artillery, it's still artillery. It can still chip away at those mouses and do a sizable amount of damage if given enough time to work.
Yeah, and especially if he can get play counter arty, maybe hit a bat chat here or there, some of that, that's where he'll be super effective. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. I'm looking at Arclet right now, zooming in on the northwest, where no tanks from Dare are, as not a whole lot of action as we're getting at 7 minutes and 50 seconds into the first battle.
Yep. If I had one criticism of the Object 261, it's that in a tank where they're going to need to use it to get resets, or an artillery where they're going to need to get resets, the HE shells on that thing do not actually have a lot of splash. So he's going to need a really precise location if they're going to rely upon him to get the resets.
All right, and you know what, Rox? Let's take a moment, and while we've got this lull, I want to know what's going on in Dare's head. So we're going to take a listen with Dare, see what's going on.
I got lit.
Could you just be on top like we do?
No, he's somewhere over
Are you
here,
sure?
though.
Are you sure? That's not those bushes.
He wouldn't have lit Bird from there, right?
No, I've been shooting through those bushes every once in a while. I'm gonna shoot the ones behind the building in a second.
I think you
Yeah,
might be
really?
on top like we do.
Yeah.
On top where? On top where?
Like
On top
No,
of
I'm,
the hill.
I'm still lit. I peeked up the
Oh.
top,
no,
but I didn't get
that's not
relit.
possible. That's not
Okay.
Clipping.
So he's somewhere out in the open over here.
It's like
Okay.
not in a bush, right?
Hmm.
Can we take the boost now or no?
No, not yet.
Let's try one more time.
Well, we have to do something at some point, so.
Yeah.
We do.
Let's go try to do the boost. Let's go try to do the boost.
Why don't we
let me
clear
make a
this
scout
out with
run.
someone?
Let me
Alright.
make a scout run for
Alright.
the cap.
Start. Yeah, let's start prepping for the boost though.
I got spotted doing the scout run on the cap, guys.
All right, so we're gonna
They're
get
They're
lit
shooting
during this
at
boost then.
something.
So
over
they're
here.
they can't. I
shooting at
can't do
you.
the boost because they'll spot me.
Yeah, they will.
Shouldn't we get someone to clear down here first?
One bat can. One
Alright,
bat
I'll do
can,
it.
guys.
Ready? Everyone be ready.
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm still being permanent in my angle, so he's got to
Just
be.
everyone
They
get
knocked
fucking
down.
ready.
They knocked down these trees, guys. All blind fire. This A5.
Aggressor's going.
That was
hey.
me. That was me.
Yeah,
That
the
was him,
aggressor's
yeah.
going right now.
I'm not spotted. He's on the right side for sure.
Okay.
All right, can you maybe peek over and try and spot him?
I'm gonna peek over for
Okay.
sure.
Okay, you have all the guns ready for him.
Not spotted at all.
Watch out, aggressor. Watch out.
Could he be in the middle?
No, there.
That's
That's
mouse.
not
Yeah.
the guy who's
No,
lighting.
no, no. He's here. He has to be here.
Think he's in
Okay,
there?
on top. All right, got you. Chase, watch.
Something
push
shot me
this
on the
firing.
boost. It's the boost. Boost shooting at me.
I just
I
got
think I
lit.
just hit
Yeah,
him. I
yeah,
think I just
he's
hit him.
over
Yeah,
here.
he's there. He's there.
Where?
He's there.
on
In
this
that bush.
side.
He's behind this rock. He's behind this rock.
Yeah,
He's in that bush.
Yeah.
Yes, for
I'm gonna
sure.
clip.
That's where he is.
If we back them off, we might be able to do the boost now.
Archie
Artie
just
just
fired.
fired.
Archie
You want to try to do the
Get,
boost?
get the boost right now.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go,
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
Okay, move up, move up.
Make sure your bats aren't getting spotted there, because if you get spotted, I'm fucked.
We're not. I was just there.
Okay.
Especially since you just backed him off.
You gotta do quick.
Come on, aggressor. Move
I
up.
got
I'm the
spot-
last
I got
one.
spotted.
I'm the last. Okay.
There's we need to be more behind. We need to be in a better spot. You gotta be at like center.
Move up. Anyone more?
Guys,
Move
forget
up
about the
minutes.
boost. We don't have time. Forget about boost. We don't have time,
I
actually.
think
We do, but
we do?
Already hit him?
Okay, I'll...
Yeah, I thought we did. Yeah, I'd say let's give it a shot. Let's do it. Let's do it.
just not as far.
I just can't get spotted. Is the problem. Once I get spotted, I'm fucked.
A bit more, Nish. That's it.
Mouse is coming way over.
I got spotted again.
We know for bats here. Hurry up.
Let's go. Let's go.
Well, I'm spotted again. Yeah, give me like 10 seconds.
How are you getting spotted there?
I don't know. I don't know.
We're not
Because
getting
there's a
spotted.
fucking UDES
Let's go,
somewhere.
let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
I already
Just-
shot.
Just come, aggressor. Come on. Time to go.
Oh,
3,
don't
2,
push
1,
it.
go. 3,
Jesus
go,
Christ,
go,
stop,
go,
stop,
go,
push
go,
it.
go.
What the fuck?
Stop.
What are you doing?
Jesus
Back
Christ.
Max,
Back
reset,
up,
reset,
back up.
reset, reset, reset.
3,
Give us a
2,
countdown.
1, go.
Two,
Go.
three,
Go, go. That's fine, it's fine. I can be ahead like this.
Yeah, we'll catch it. We'll catch it.
Feels bad.
One more,
Fuck.
one more, one
Yeah,
more.
let's try it again. Try it again.
3 minutes.
4
dude.
minutes.
Fuck. We can't.
4
I don't have
minutes.
time for shit.
I mean, we can't kill him. We're gonna have to play cap, so we're gonna
Yeah.
have to make him come
Yeah.
out.
What do we want to do?
Try it again.
First
Yep.
get the boost, then try to play for a cab, but they have 2 mice. Let's go.
Oh my
Aggressor.
god.
Come on, aggressor.
I know.
Countdown.
3, 2, 1, go.
Already fired.
Got it. Okay.
Jason,
Move.
you don't
Now
have
we have to.
shots?
I7. I think
Reloading.
you have to move up to the ball actually.
I'm
Can we
probably
make
gonna
a s-
die for it, but I can go.
Can we make a scout run through the cap? Because we have to get 2 on.
Sure, I can. Like, you want
And
me
now
to
it's
go?
you.
Alright, you're going.
I'm in the bull.
Yeah, 2 on. Fuck, I'm spot.
I need you to
Udis
pressure
is
him.
still. Udis is still there. Or it was mouse.
It's the UDES. He's somewhere up there.
Clipping.
I'm gonna try and farm these mouses then.
Could the UDES be on the red line on the rails and not get spotted?
No,
spotted it.
he was in this
No,
bush,
I'm not
dude.
spotted either, so.
He's on that side. He would have got lit leaving, so he's there.
I'm gonna try blind fire. I'm gonna try and blind fire that bush again.
Look. I'm gonna sharpen the boost. I'm an idiot.
Fuck. I don't know.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
We need to spot. We need to suicide somebody for UDES. I'm going.
And look at this, Aggressor is trying, but he is barely missing out on spotting Pasta. He's just moved just right, just perfectly to avoid peeking up to spot the UDES that has been plaguing Dare this whole battle.
Think about it this way. This is a single tier 8 tank that has single-handedly handed this win to 07.
They spotted Pasta. They finally got it. He's lit. He's spotted. They could see him after.
And he's gonna get away alive despite being in the open.
You've got to be kidding me. The 07.
Pasta, you legend.
So cheeky. It's worked though. There's a minute and 30 seconds left. The 2 mouse, they have too many hit points. Bat chats are almost completely healthy. They're a strong hold. Good start by 07.
And now Chase Potato's gonna get onto Cap in that artillery, but he's already gonna go down. He gets shot by Warbander, and now this is looking great for 07 to start off with a strong win.
Yeah, but it's baffling, isn't it, Rox? Absolutely baffling. Because we haven't seen this spot used in NA yet. And, well...
I haven't seen this spot used anywhere, to be honest.
I've seen stuff like that used before, because what you could tell, and we'll explore it after the battle a little bit, but there's the way he arranged himself was perfect, and it shows the expertise of Fosta. His knowledge of the spotting mechanic and how to utilize it perfectly in World of Tanks. Now, this battle we're still in, 4 tanks alive for Dare, and guess what? They took too long to get what they needed to get done. They got hung up, yes, by that UDES, so a lot of credit to 07, because you could see it from Dare. There was blind fire everywhere, all over the map, just trying to take that tank down. And now Nationwide is the last tank alive.
They legitimately had no idea where Fosta was until about the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, and I'm really glad we took a listen in with them, because that's kind of what it's like when you just can't figure something out. That was the sound of a team that was stumped. And that's a scenario where you sit there and you go, is this on Dare for not knowing the spot, or is this on 07? And congratulations to them for a strong play in battle number 1.
Yep.
Which is it more?
Well, I definitely have to think part of that's 07 just doing something that's never been done before. I said, you know, the combination of Arclit and 07,
yeah.
they're willing to do things outside the box. They've shown that all season, or at least since Arclit's joined. They're really willing to experiment with things. And this is something just completely out there, sitting in the wide open. You know, he's not even in a bush. It defies all logic of where you should be checking, because everyone...
Typical logic, yes. And here we have it. Thank you so much for this one. Because the position he's in, I just want to take a look. Where he's looking is the tanks here, these bat chats that are getting ready to do the boost, he's not covered to them. But the UDES has such a high camo value that you stick a camo net on that, and you put binoculars on it, you've got max view range, and then on top of it, you've got camo that is so insanely high that a tank at about 400 meters won't see you in the open. You just have to hold still. Now, eventually he got spotted.
But look at the time on the clock.
Exactly. He did his job and then some. And all he had to do was stay strong and not get afraid. Because honestly, one of the things that a lot of younger and newer players will do is they'll flinch. You'll see a tank closing the distance and you'll decide, I need to move. But guess what? Fossa stayed still, and he wasn't spotted by Aggressor at about 300 meters.
And Nationwide, despite getting up onto that boost late, was able to put up a good amount of damage, especially into those mosses, doing 3,200 damage. And then Arclit in that 261, almost 3,000 damage and 2 kills. Warbander, top fantasy point score, 407 that round, 88 fantasy points. On to the second page, even though he did no damage and sat in one spot the whole game, Fosta got 45 fantasy points. And the way to look at it is he essentially traded his whole tank and doing nothing outside of spotting for 8 minutes of game time.
Yes.
That was one tier 8 that simply took 8 minutes off the clock for Dare Rising. 10 times out of 10, every team's going to take that trade.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a tier 8 for 8 free minutes. Absolutely.
Exactly. It's the value is there. You may not have dealt any damage, but what you did is you spotted tanks so that your allies could deal damage from a safe distance. And it works out. Combining spotting and an artillery piece like the 261, you can pump out a high volume of fire. The 261 is flexible, meaning if you have to move to weird positions, or even leave a portion of the map and flex around, you've got that option. And now, I actually kind of agree with that 261 choice now. I feel like with a reasonable lineup, especially including Mouse, a lot of armor, hit points to, kind of take the edge off of the hit point loss and the armor loss from bringing a 261. Although that won't matter this time, Rocks.
And look at these lineups. Dare Rising, 6 Bat Chats and an IS-3, 07, a 113, 3 Bat Chats, an S-Tank, a WZ-111, and Arclit once again going with a high tier artillery, except this time the tier 9 American arty, the M5355.
Also a solid choice. High arc, decent rate of fire. The splash is, I'd say, satisfactory.
About the same as the 261, if not just a little bit higher.
I think it's a little higher. The 261's always been known for relatively small splash.
But the biggest difference between these two is the M53 has the full turret traverse. I believe it's around 120 degrees, where the Object 261 only has about 60 degrees of traverse in front.
This is true. The thing about the 261 is you pick a direction and you shoot lasers in that direction. The nice part is, of course, that if you need to shift position in the 261, you can do it. But with the M5355, you can plant that tank somewhere, and he can leave it there the entire battle, and reasonably, he might never get out of that third-person satellite view. He could stay there the entire battle, and that wouldn't be a problem.
Yep. Now, not saying that you necessarily want to do it in that thing. You can. You have to remember that moving positions in artillery, opening up new angles, is very important as well.
Oh, look at this. Durgel taking an aggressive, and this is risky, a move right up the mid-road. With him is Bird, and now My Little Putin will be joining him as well. This is a strong play a lot of teams will take to really throw their opponent off early. And in this case, what they're going to be doing is pinning down Fosta in the Bat Chat. Fosta is now pinned. He can't really leave safely. He's going to have to take quite a bit of damage. And look at that. Arclit getting a one-shot onto Bird. That hurts. Dare's just lost one of their top tanks in all of a sudden, it just happens out of nowhere. And that's why you bring that M5355, because a 261 might be able to land a shot like this, but not as well as an M5355 will be able to just land that shot
Randall,
on top of a Bat Chat.
Randall.
What?
07 upset M60's last playoffs.
We're seeing.
They came in as the 6th seed and beat Quad M60's, and Durgel, he's in trouble. He's about to go down, and he does. Fosta picks up the kill.
And now this is 2 tanks down for Dare. They've started battle number 2 on.
Are we sure that 07 are the 6th seed?
Did we mix up do we have the teams right? Because
what is going on?
Our third place team is starting this series off, and 07 looks more like the third place team in our league right now than Dare does. Now, I'll give some credit. Dare looked genuinely confused in that first battle. We heard the comms. It was rough.
I think
they could be recovering.
I think the word tilt comes to mind.
Tilt is certainly a scenario to entertain here. Is Dare going on tilt? Are they mentally in the right place? Where are they? I don't know what exactly it could be that's getting to them, but we'll have to see. It's a little too soon maybe to draw any solid conclusions yet. It was a rough battle 1. Battle 2, they're recovering.
Some damage from Aggressor in the Bat Chat. Fosta taking a shot as well. Aggressor playing this train track perfectly. Fosta now down to a 1-shot, 370, and he only has one crew member left in his Bat Chat.
Really? Wait. Oh,
He's
yeah, he
down
lost.
his commander, or his driver, and his gunner.
His commander's just like, guys, can I get a little help here? He's like one of our observers, operating some CG, flying a camera, doing all that, getting replays. Shout out to our observers. Doing a billion things at once. And good
Not
thing,
be a happy place to be right now.
although good thing is their crews are maxed out, although
But remember, when you lose,
Chase Potato just went down as well. That was the IS-3.
and something to remember is when you lose crew members in the bat chat, that affects your reload time because it's an auto loader.
Yep, every single crew member has some kind of an effect there. And so, it is a rough start for Dare. This is already over in my eyes. Nationwide's got some hit points. Aggressor's reasonably healthy. Master Putin, though, is limping across the battlefield now. And 07 has every tank alive.
Okay, let's put it this way. We're going to go into one of 07's best maps next on Mines. Dare Rising have struggled in this map, including the overtime loss to Eclipse on Mines. Let's say at worst that's a 1-1 right now. It's a 3-1 series. The last two maps are Muravanka and Ruinberg. Even if those go 1-1, that's going to hand 07 the win. That's going to send Dare Rising home, as it were. They're not going to come to the finals. It's going to be 07 coming to the live finals for their second time.
Yeah, that's why it's important that off of this assumed what's going to be a loss. This is assuming we don't see an amazing delay, because the last chance for Dare here is to delay for 5 whole minutes and then somehow keep that going the entire time and not lose all of their tanks. So that's the only option they've got. It's something that can be done, unreasonable though, because it's probably not going to happen. And then I think I saw Arclet just threw one out there against Aggressor, but didn't quite get the kill. Close.
Well, luckily, because Aggressor only has 69 HP left.
And here we go. Stack. 07 knows it's over. They've decided they're going to throw all their tanks onto Cap now. And you got Antipan, Mako's, Warbander, and now Arclet. All just sitting waiting.
Is Arclet going to lob one out there?
Probably. He's got a few seconds, but he might not actually have time to fire before the battle is over. Because in just now, Cap's is finished.
Out.
And that's it. That's GG. That's battle number 2 going to 07. 2 in a row, Rocks, to start this series to 07. The first battle, they used a never before seen passive spotting position. Some great scouting work showing why Fosta, the leader of that team, knows his stuff and is just a solid scout. Combine that with Arclet and the Artie landing shells left and right.
Well, speaking of Arclet, he's going to be second. Or he's going to be top on 07's damage for the second game in a row in that Tier 9 artillery.
There we go. This is the one of the classic kind of play styles that we haven't seen as effective in a long time, and that is utilizing your scouting mixed with a strong Artie player. Use everyone else to hold the line, right? This is something that people got away from a long time ago, and that was because of the weakening of scouting. Now, with some of the new tanks that have come in, a few of those changes, we're starting to see Artie come back in that sense. And I like that Arclet's bringing back artillery and making it work, as opposed to normally where it was kind of just a nuisance.
Yeah, and look at Makos putting up huge points, 2,000 damage, as well as getting the cap points, 113 fantasy points. But Arclet, 2,700 damage, 1 kill, 55 fantasy points so far. Nationwide, once again, top performer for Dare Rising, but not enough. And even Aggressor putting up 2,000 damage. But this is where it really speaks right here is Chase Potato, the tier 8, doing 1 shot of damage, and then 3 Batchets, all with goose eggs.
Yeah, and that shows that Dare didn't really have any vision. And by that I mean the spotting mechanics of
Other
World
than
of
the
Tanks.
fact they drove down the middle of the road with no scout out in front and drove straight into the tanks of 07, yeah.
Yeah, and then of course solid Artie connection early on. If that had missed, actually, just kind of like to theory craft a little bit. Had the artillery shell that connected early on and got the kill onto Bird, had that not connected and killed him, there's a decent chance that they
were still down to tier 10 at that point. That was the second tier 10 down.
Was it?
Yeah.
Who was the first?
I believe it was Milo Putin got picked off, or one of the Batchets drove in first and took a lot of damage.
No, that was the Artie that died first. No, the Artie kill was the first kill, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
I may have it backwards, but I think that was the second kill.
You know what? Not a big deal. But
Either
had
way,
that not
they
connected,
died.
Had that not connected, Dare had the option to then aggress the middle road, take some control, and then actually get their win. Had they not done that, had they just stayed back and sat around, the same thing probably would have happened. But think that's enough for battle number 2 because I want to see what Dare's going to be able to bring as they need to come back as we go into battle number 3.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations, but the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village and the other one is in the water. One of the key objectives is the center hill. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets for cover.
And here we go into battle number 3. Dare Rising, 3 Mouses, 2 Bat Chats, an E4, and Chase Potato in the M4043. Meanwhile, 07, 113, 3 Mouses, 2 Bat Chats, and Fosta bringing the Rheinmetall Scorpion G.
Okay. Not a common choice there, but we've seen it before, and I think we can both agree that's a solid tank, decent mobility.
It's a lethal tier 8. It has a very potent gun on it. Camo value is pretty good, and it's very mobile.
I've heard you compare that gun to another gun we've seen.
Well, it is the gun off the Rheinmetall, off the tier 8, the Borsig. It's the same gun. It's just on a different chassis.
The Waffle Tiger.
Yeah, the tier 8. It's just taking it off, putting it onto a Panther chassis.
There you go. Put it on a Panther chassis, moves a little bit better. A little higher profile as well, and also the gun depression that you see from it isn't bad.
Yep.
Just have to worry about the fact that it's a little soft.
Yeah, well, so is the tier 8.
Yeah.
And luckily for Dare Rising, they have the M4043 to take pot shots at it with, so anything in the same postcode should do a significant amount of damage to them.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this that I see as a counter, is if we see that spotted. Now, Arclit is lit. He is spotted. And Dare, with Chase Potato, they do have the option to try and take some fire over there. So if Fosta gets himself spotted, Chase Potato's already lined up and ready to go to take him out.
And look at Aggressor sitting here in base up on the high ground, up on Pride Rock, as you will, just sitting here taking shots towards the island at Arclit.
Actually, I want to see, what has he got? I don't think he has binos or camo net or anything. He's just doing this because he knows that he's safe. He's not really going to get spotted. But actually, Rockstar, what's going on in the middle with the 3 Mouse from 07 there? They're taking the hill. You've got actual Mouse taking the hill.
3 blind mice pushing up and taking the hill. And Arclit takes another shot.
Oh, Arclit, yeah, that's most of his hit points right there, 854.
Over half.
The Fosta in the Scorpion G has been lit. So
but now Makos and Andy Pans are going to make the push, but Makos gets caught out in front, and he goes down to Aggressor.
Out in the open, too
and
high.
Now Andy Pans takes 1,000, 1,500.
He has to burn his kit. He doesn't have the and he's down. That's 2 down for 07 on attack. This is the chance for Dare to make something happen. But remember those Mouse on the hill? They're still there. They can still deal damage. And of all the tanks right now that could bring back a match where it is, I think I should give the Mouse a chance. Because you know what? Good armor angling, good positioning. Chase Potato, if he manages to miss a few crucial shells, 07 has a chance in this. Not quite over, but it certainly is heavily in favor of Dare, with 12,000 versus 11,000 hit points.
But
Fosta taking a huge hit there.
Look at all the things that are going wrong for 07 in this game. Their 2 Bat Chats are already dead. They don't have an artillery. They don't have any flexibility. They don't have anything able to open up new angles. So I really don't see much of a way in for this. And Fosta taking more damage.
That's a good point, Rox. I think you just made the point that I totally looked over, which is lack of mobility and scouting opportunities. The Mouse can try to do all they want. They can angle all day, every day. But they don't have the mobility to take a position, which is what you have to do on mines. Current positions of 07 are quite risky if they want to move forward, evidenced by the loss of the 2 Bat Chats earlier. They cross, they have to go into an open spot. It's very risky, you take a lot of damage for it, but you know what? Half the time it works out, Rox. But the other half, just like we saw here with Dare, you lose 2 tier 8s, and then if you don't have any other Bat Chats, no other scouting, nothing like that, you're pretty much done, unless you can find a way in. But I don't know. There's a lot of time left, Rox, but options are running thin.
Chase Potato might go for the double shot, and he gets 700 onto Major Issues. Doesn't get any splash onto Warbander, though. And this is looking very good early on for Dare.
Yes, it is. 07 still has time, though. I think I want to mention that one. We've got a few minutes to see if 07 can figure something out. And you know what, Rox? Should we take a listen in with 07? Try and see maybe if they have something going on, or what? No? Not feeling it?
Well, I mean, at this point, what are they going to do? They got 3 Mouses, Scorpion G.
I'm wondering if they're probably going to talk about next strategy, because like sometimes you hear teams instead of spend time on a battle they know is lost, they start taking the advantage of the time they've got to talk about the next battle maybe.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a listen in with 07, see what's going on their side of the comms.
Or we can talk about our like other.
We can talk
ways.
about the defense too.
Is anyone confused on it? It's a Type 5 instead of a mouse. The Type 5's to spook them from the boost.
Oh, where is it from?
Yeah, G1.
Can you... Oh, it's here. Okay.
Straight ahead where Mako's wreck is. It's probably behind it.
No, he's not there.
Fausto,
He boxed 3 of me.
Are you looking at the sketch, Fausto?
I can be.
Oof.
What about this guy?
Can we flex all the way around and just try maybe fuck this guy up from the other side?
Why don't we all try and get on one cap?
Major, careful, middle. This.
Want to go on one cap with Artie and the boost tank?
I don't know.
I think Major wigged out or something.
Put mouse over here, Scorpion behind it.
Major?
What? Can you not hear me?
You wigged out or something.
Oh.
Oh, my little Putin
You were
is coming
driving
up.
backwards in circle.
Stay focused, guys. We take the D on this and we're sitting pretty.
Yeah, this is probably our least the hardest side to attack from.
It's not like Runeberg or Cakewalks.
But
I
you
don't
should,
know.
if we win the
It's
rest of our
fine.
defenses, we're good.
Oh.
So stay focused.
The boost back.
And 07 kind of echoing the same thoughts that we had here earlier about, you know, just making sure that they grind this out. If the rest of the maps are 1-on-1 maps, they win their defenses, they feel they'll be looking good as well.
Yeah, you can tell that they're focused. They've still got their heads in the game. They know that this one's probably over. They just have to, you know, stay focused. And you heard what a lot of teams are talking about, what's going through their minds when a battle is wrapping up. When you know it's over, it's not worth it to dwell, right? You can maybe a little criticism, some thoughts, but get past it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, as this last battle wraps up, let's go ahead and check in with our social correspondent once again, Alex.
Hey guys, so I hope none of you are headed out to Vegas or anything like that soon, because absolutely none of you guessed that 07 would be winning this, and they're actually still 2-1. The closest we got was B10, who said that the magic 8-ball answer, when asked who he thought was going to win, would be reply hazy, try again. And that's the closest we got. We also got at Drad's family, who wanted to know how often do the teams practice? And we reached out to our own Elevate captain, Comps, and he said about 24 to 28 hours a week. So it's a pretty hefty amount of dedication. But with that, let's get right back into it and see what happens next, guys.
Thank you so much, Alex. That was wonderful. I actually, he'd never broken down hours like that for me. So
well, if you think
there
about
you
it,
go.
If you think about it, it depends on the week, but you know, probably 3 to 4 hours a night, give or take, depending on the length of the scrim, how many maps they want to go over, how many rounds. You figure probably 3 to 4 nights outside of match days. You include match days. The hours total up pretty quickly.
Yeah, and you know what? For many players, it's been a full-time job before. You wake up in the morning, you start off by, you know, reviewing some replays, go over your mistakes, your opponent's strengths, try and figure out strats. You know, in the afternoon, maybe sit down, strat talk, and then in the evening, sit down for a scrim or two as you practice.
Yeah, well, I even remember the old high voltage guys when they were still around. They were waking up on their Saturday mornings and they were scrimming APAC teams, and then they were taking naps in the afternoon and then waking up and scrimming teams at night. So, you know, they have to get the practice in where they can, not just against the American teams, but all the international teams as well.
Yeah, and very often you'll even throw a scrim in right before your match of the day, just to get warmed up. Now, let's look at this battle one more time a little bit and just say 07 made some mistakes. They took some risks, but Dare just had a solid defense. The cover fires were good. They were looking at the right places at the right time. 07 walked into it. I think it was a simple situation where the strats lined up for Dare to play much better, and they didn't fail.
And Durgil in that E4 putting up 3,400 damage, 1 kill, 82 fantasy points. MacTap actually making a strong showing for the first time tonight. And who didn't make a strong showing is going to be Arclit, only doing 12 fantasy points, no damage.
Fossa and Makos, 3 players from 07 just got wiped out. That was the thing about the Scorpion, is I really was hoping it was going to play better. But I I'm not going to throw this at the Scorpion or the choice there. I think that altogether just 07 crumbled in that battle. So they've got a rally. It sounded like on comms they were able to before. And as we get into battle number 4, Rockstar, the lineups look like we've got 2 Mouse for either side. Dare's going to bring 3 Bat Chats, a TVP 5051, and Chase Potato in that M4043 again.
And 07, 2 Mouses, a Type 5, 2 Bat Chats, a WZ, and Makos bringing the T95.
Okay, so the T95 is becoming a more and more popular pick, also known as the Doom Turtle to many longer players of the game. It used to be the slowest tank that there was.
14 kilometers an hour speed max.
And it used to be just about impenetrable at the height of its day. It's starting to make a comeback because of the effectiveness of the armor combined with a slight boot.
Mobility muff that it received went up from 14 kilometers an hour to 20, so definitely, and it reaches that top speed very quickly now, so it can get around, get up hills. So it's not quite a liability. However, as we saw in some of the previous match days, it still can be caught out, especially with these faster, more mobile tanks like the Batchat.
Absolutely, and look at this early on in the battle. Master Putin going to a risky, yet I like seeing this opening scout run. Fosta takes 349, and Swipple is spotted as well. Good start for Dare. This sets 07 in a reactive stance. Also note artillery.
Swipple taking 1,000.
That's huge. Dare's got a good start going for him. Okay, this is good. This is the Dare that we needed to see. They're good. It was a rough start, Rocks. It was rough.
Yep.
But I'm starting to feel like maybe they're going to come back on this one. Because a start like that, you send an opening scout into, honestly, a spot that no one else uses to opening run.
Well,
most of the time it's much riskier.
Even if Dare tie this up, this is still in a very gray area because, like we said, the next 2 maps are 1-1 maps. So it's going to be tough for Dare to find an extra win in there, and that's going to send it to overtime, which today is Prokhorovka, a map that 07 have actually played a lot, and Dare Rising have had some pretty atrocious games on.
Yeah, we'll have to see how those come when they do. Right now, we're still in this one where we've got 2 Mouse on the low ground, right, covering, and it looks like Dare's going to aggress on the 2 cap, the southwest one, the water side. They've got the TVP on the high ground, Master Putin in a bat chat, and we're going to be seeing what the Artie can do as far as getting work done. Because if we get enough damage out from Chase Potato in that M4043 Rocks, I'm thinking that's where the hole opens, we start to see that push. If not, what are the options for 07 as a defender? What are the options for Dare to switch up?
Well, with all these tanks focused now on the 1-2 line, they know that Bat Chats are committed on the 1-2 line. It would not be out of the realm of possibility to see some sort of shift over towards maybe the 8-9 line, use the 0 line boost, open up the backside of the map, or even just commit all the way down the 1 line like we saw 07 do. I really don't like seeing that 1 line push, though, because we saw the exact reason why last game. Dare read it perfectly. Their guns were in position. And that was 2 tier 10s down within a matter of 10 seconds for 07. That's not something you want to see happen.
Yeah, you want to get your opponent thinking that you're going to attack from the north or from the east, right? You don't want them watching and covering the water side, because you can actually make the cross from the north to the southwest on that 1-2 line.
You have to do what we call break turrets. You have to get them to look in a different direction and give them some form of misdirection, just like in football where you may have some sort of misdirection or handoff or screen pass. It's the same thing here. You have to give them one thing to look at, get their eyes turned, get them running the different direction, and then take it where you want it then.
Exactly. Force the fight where you want. Manipulate your opponent into making the right choice. And you'll notice this, even pubs anywhere, it's just people tend to react the same way to a lot of very subtle actions, right? A little flank here, you just poke your tracks out somewhere. It tells your opponent what you're thinking and what you're posturing up to do. Because so much of the game is posturing as well. It's about where you position, about how long you stay in cover, about how much you let yourself get spotted, how often you stay in the open, or how much you trade. All of these tiny details send an intricate message to your opponent. These guys know how to read that. And they're trying to play that as much as they can off of each other.
And they're trying to get Swipple down, and Chase Potato looking for a shot. And he's actually going to shift over towards A4, it looks like, take a blind shot at the bush.
But he doesn't know Makos is actually a little farther back, and he's actually going to be safe and sound. And this is a lot of the same concept that we saw in battle number 1. Remember where Foster was hidden a little bit behind some bushes so that he could spot around them in many cases?
You don't need to be in the bush to get the camo value from it.
Exactly. But if you're too far behind the bush, you actually can't spot very well through it. So something to note is you can actually create kind of temporary walls by distancing yourself from from one of a fallen tree or a bush, and then reapproaching it a little bit. Now, they've changed up the way camo works many times, and there's some subtleties and a little bit of nuance to
And
it. But
Swipple is in trouble. Sorry to cut you off.
Go for it.
Chase Potato's eyeballing this. Swipple's down to 209. Splash damage is more than enough to kill him, especially if Swipple makes the wrong choice. The wrong moment. Chase Potato just holding his shot just for a second longer.
Yeah, if Swipple decides to shift his position a little bit.
Oh, this is tense. This is on a knife's edge right now. Swipple just sitting here. Chase Potato holding the shot, waiting for something. The Mouses are going to start to push up. They're going to be the bait. They're going to hope that Swipple tries to back up and takes the shot.
Yeah, and that's it. The mouse aggression has started. So Bird and Aggressor are moving up.
He moves to the left side.
Nice cover fire coming out from the TVP. Durgel is going to force Warbander's attention away from the mouse while they begin to close the distance.
And now the T-95 is spotted. He gets tracked. Chase Potato's lighting up the shot. He fires.
See, this is the example.
600 damage onto that T-95.
Nicely played. This is what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about force a distraction, right? Your opponent's looking at the mouse. They know they're pushing up. They don't realize here come the Bat Chats as well. Fosta is down. So one of those Bat Chats completely out. Only a moment until I expect Swipple will go down as well. Finally.
Spotted. He finally has to fire. But he ends up getting picked up by MacTap.
So, yeah, there we go. This is another solid play by Dare. But look at the hit points, actually. Very low. 7,000 for Dare. 07 still sits with more. And so, even if this starts to look like it's 07 side of kills, hit points still go the other way.
And they have all the armor as well, and the position. They don't have to move. And so far, Dare, the only thing they've done to open up the map is push down the one line. They've left nothing up in the north, and these heavy tanks can keep their armor towards all of them. The only thing that Dare have going for him besides that position right now is this artillery of Chase Potato, who has been doing work all game. 600 there, 600 here. It doesn't matter that it's only 600 or 700 at a time. It totals up.
Exactly. And now major issues. Look at this Type 5 on the high ground, Rocks. 07, this says to me 07 should be able to hold onto defense, right? This says that 07 should be able to hold, to me. Because the armor, the hit points, the position of this Type 5, that I really feel like this tank is going to be able to make things happen, right? It's going to be able to get the reset. And there it goes. Chase Potato goes down. That's artillery out. Because Andy Pans, while we were distracted looking at the mid, Andy Pans is in the backfield. And even more so, this just kind of tells me those 7 should be able to walk away with the win. Because they're going to be able to delay the cap. And even if the cap is not even a factor, if it's all about kills after that, the spread from 07, I think, means that they could hide a tank and stow it somewhere else on the map and get work done. Now, we've just seen the mouse go down next to the cap. Dare has got control of that area of the map now. But with the T-95 of Mako's Rocks, is he going to be able to stop the cap? Is he going to be able to defend and spot this position without necessarily getting torn apart?
I feel like that's a moot point to make at this point because Dare aren't showing any intent of going towards that cap. They're pushing forward, and they're pushing into the gun of Arclet, who actually puts the shot into the rock. T-95 might be able to get some shots off here.
Not quite.
Bounces off the lower plate.
Yep, that'll happen from time to time. It's a hard shot to make through bushes.
But now the Bat Chats are pushing in, and if they can get alongside Makos, they can do a lot. Type 5 of major issues if they T-shot onto Aggressor. Damage going back and forth here. 07 still holding on. Milo Putin takes another shot of damage, and now Arclet's pushing in to help him out. He's going to take a shot from Nationwide.
Oh,
but
he can't
Arclet picks up MacTap, and this is going back and forth.
Yeah, and he can't take another one. Arclet wants to stay alive right now. That mouse is just, he is down. That's good play by Milo Putin, but is Mako's going to be able to hold on? Is major issues in that Type 5? Is he going to be able to hold on for a minute and 30 seconds? This is going to be a close one. It depends so much on individual play. Numbers, though, with Dare. This could be very much like watching hyenas try and take down a wildebeest in some kind of...
And major issues picks up Nationwide. That's going to be a huge help for Makos. Durgel picks up major issues, and now it's just down to Makos.
And he needs to get a kill. He needs to kill Aggressor fast. And fast is a very relative term, excuse me here, Rox. It is the T-95, but he needs to get this kill. If he cannot, he's going to get outflanked by Durgel and My Little Putin, and it's going to be that much harder. Otherwise, there might be a chance that, well, Makos can make something happen. Now, Makos is tracked. I don't think he has a kit. Do not think he has a kit. He won't be able to deal with this. And there, Aggressor, he's going to go down.
Makos gets it, but now Milo Putin can get around him. He has the mobility, and the TVP is going to join in as well. Mako's trying to get spun around. TVP finds a shot onto his back, gets one shot onto his side, and Durgil picks up the kill, tying the series up 2-2.
That was so close. There were a few moments it could have gone either way. Just one bounce, one misplay, and it's all over for Dare, but they managed to do it. And okay, so this is tied up. We're now it's a close series. We're right there, 2-2.
Yeah, well, Chase Potato was an absolute monster that game, using that artillery, putting up a lot of damage. Those that have been around for a while know Chase Potato. They've seen him around. For those that don't, we have a special little piece prepared for you.
My favorite class is mainly artillery because I can sit back and delete people. That's how I help my teammates win games. And you know, whenever you have a top-down view on everything, basically you can tell your team where to go or how to play and all that kind of stuff. It's really helpful sometimes.
Chase Potato deletes. No nick, no skill.
But deleting people is probably the most fun part of that class. Second favorite class is light tanks because that's what I play mostly. Spotting range and camo is really helpful for 7v7.
Yeah. And a big shot from Hoppus onto Chase Potato. Chase is going to be feeling that one in the morning.
Favorite moment of the season has to be the first round robin against Eclipse, playing against Master People in Ghost Town, the last second reset to get that win. I don't think I've ever heard my team yell that much before, and I think that's my favorite part during this season.
That's Mac, man. I need you to kill him.
Oh!
And oh, what a play that was at the end. That was probably one of the brightest moments the entire season.
Yep, and another thing that's really hot right now is if you picked him up on your fantasy team, almost another 120 fantasy points so far tonight. Doing so much work. Warbander also doing great, and Aggressor, one of the top damage dealers in the league, doing it once again, 3,600 damage on the second page. MacTap had a pretty strong game, only doing 1,700 damage, 2 kills, 60 fantasy points. Andy Pan's major issues, struggling to get any major connections there.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. The Type 5 is a tank that I've been playing a lot lately just because I've been trying to get used to the new meta and trying to kind of acclimate myself to a lot of heavy tank play. And the Type 5 is one of those tanks that if you just keep throwing shells out there, you can do damage. But if you can't just get into the action enough, you're going to be left behind.
Yep, well, let's get into the action because we're ready for our next map.
Muravanka, a map with a great number of buildings, bushes and trees, amongst which teams hide for most of the battle. The attacking team begins the battle from the top of the village, and the defenders start from the bottom of the map. Both bases are better controlled from the hill near the first base, and from the green in the lower left corner of the map. There are many attack directions. The attacking team often attempts to gain the attention of defenders by putting pressure on the first base, whilst manoeuvring several tanks behind the second base to deliver fire into the defending's flank. Team setups are very diverse, but the players often choose the fastest tanks, even for heavy setups. They could even bring SPGs.
And here our lineups go. Dare Rising, a 215B, a Mouse, 2 T57 Heavies, a Batchat, and 2 Tier 9 Bats. Meanwhile, 07, a Mouse, 2 113s, 3 Batchats, and an RU 251.
All right, and for opening moves, Chase Potato, who we just saw featured in a piece a moment ago, talking about one of his favorite classes being light tanks. Well, guess what? Here he is, scouting things out. He's spotted major issues, and he's just going to move. Perfect timing to get spotted by Fosta, dip back into behind the chapel. This is probably the only religious building here on the map. Usually they leave 1 or 2 of these out there so that you have a landmark to work with. He'll stay safe there while the flank from 07 comes in, and the cap will begin as 2 T57s, Nationwide and Burden Fungus get onto the cap.
Oh, this is so potent, especially with the way the teams try to address this cap and the way they attack it, having 2 T57s here ready to roll forward and pump out damage. This could be an absolutely lethal combination.
Yeah, instead of taking some heavily armored tanks and placing them way out of the fight on cap, let's screen it. Send the Mouse, two Batchats, and focus fire. Andy Pans is the first one to go down. Yes, that may be an exchange for my little Putin, but guess what? Aggressor delays that long enough to make it pay off.
And now MacTap goes down as well. Dare Rising 2,000 HP up. Swipple trying to get away. Aggressor looking for some shots. Makos only has a single shot left.
2-1 on the cap. It's almost done. I think That might be it. Yes, shots go
That's
out.
cap. That's cap.
That's
done.
cap. That's it. A fast cap by Dare. All right. That's going to put them in the lead. That's going to mean Dare's back in the series, guys. It is now 3-2 in favor of Dare. And that's exactly how you do it. I love this. Okay, we've talked about it so many times.
That was defense on Maravanka.
Yeah. But guess what? There are fast caps. They often don't work. Why? Because guess what? You're not ready for the usual response. This is a counterplay. This is a strat where you knew exactly what 07 was going to do. You tried to telegraph your strat, your decisions, what you're going to do, bait them into going for it, and then guess what? They find themselves up against armor that is a little bit too heavy. The mouse is a great counter when you're going against Bat Chats, and then solid team play. Master
Aggressor even getting in the way and blocking Swipple from getting those kill shots, delaying time. And another thing to look at, if you looked at the minimap when that started, the two T-57s were on cap. The second those Bat Chats got spotted coming out of the forest for 07, you could see Durgil immediately move for Dare onto that cap to be the third tank. They knew that they had that advantage. They knew that they could get that cap, and they went for it. And look at not a lot of damage this game. Even Aggressor, one of the top damage dealers, only doing 47 fantasy points. Andy Pans and Swipple, top performers for 07. MacTap, Chase Potato, and Malputin picking it up for Dare, but the damage isn't really the important thing. It's the cap.
Yes, exactly. And that's Burden Fungus, Nationwide, and Durgil. 3 bottom tanks of damage. They actually end up with the most fantasy points. That's the one column to pay attention to in this post-battle stats in a cap fast. Look for the guys who got on cap. They're going to get your fantasy points. They're the ones that are really going to walk away with any kind of reward there for those of you who are playing fantasy out there.
Yep, and now it's going to be 07 to have to do something that not many teams have been able to do all season, and that's get a win on one of these 2 maps on offense.
Yep. Yeah. This map, actually, is it currently the most one-sided map still?
Yes,
I believe
64% defensive-sided win rate.
Yeah, for a little while I wasn't sure if that was going to change, but yes, this is the defensive side. Ruinberg in the past was the more defensive-sided
That's still sitting at a 62%.
Exactly. So Murrow is even more one-sided. It's the map you choose when you want to go 1-1. And when you win in a cap fast like that, okay, all right. We were predicting at first that Dare would sweep this.
They either have to win right now on offense on Murrow, which is possible because we just saw Dare do it. It's hard, but they just did it. And then we go on to Ruinberg, which that's something that 07 haven't been able to do much of all season. If we look at the stats, their Ruinberg offensive win rate is a whopping 25% over 8 games.
And here on Murrow even, these guys haven't been having the greatest performance either.
And their Murrow is 28% over 7 games. So 2 maps where they've really struggled on offense. It's about 1 apiece. And the lineup they're going to bring to try to do it, 3 Mouses, 3 Bat Chats, and a Lorraine 155. Once again, Arclet playing that artillery.
And
Dare.
on the other side, Dare, IS-4 Mouse, 4 Bat Chats, and a 1390 from Chase Potato again. So, Rox, as you look at this, hit points and armor definitely for 07 on attack here. Mobility goes in favor of Dare, and with an artillery on top of that, 07's looking like they're going to play a very slow, long attack on the west side is really what this looks like to me.
They certainly could. They just need to be careful not to get disjointed. When you have 3 Mouses like that, that's 3 tanks that are your anchors plus artillery. So those 3 Bat Chats, the whole time, Dare are going to know exactly where those Mouses are. So if they find those Bat Chats, because they have the edge in the light tanks between the 4 Bat Chats and the 1390, if they see a single Bat Chat off by itself away from those Mouses, they will not hesitate to Wolfpack after it, go chase it down and kill, because even if the other 2 Bat Chats are somewhere behind them in the background, they still have a 3-on-5. They're still going to take that every chance they can.
Exactly, and we're going to go ahead and listen in with 07 on attack, see what's going through their minds and what the formula for success will be here. As well, let's go ahead and head straight into that listening with 07.
Bro, this is like the standard strat where they have mouse can be here, ES4 can be here, and then the bats is gonna.
I need some info, guys. We're not going anywhere with this.
Do you want the mouse to come up closer and spot?
Let's push it. Let's get 1 mouse up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
The other mouse take the ridge then.
You want Swipple up on the ridge then too?
Yes, Swipple shift to the ridge. It should be fine.
Can this bat meanwhile try to light something without getting red?
I think we should get out of here.
No.
I don't know. What do you think? Should Mako's Iron get up?
This is fine. I don't think they can really push us.
Well, the thing is, they're gonna just go through here. These bats, if they're gonna try to reset.
You need to either group here and dump the IS-4.
Okay, the other thing we can do is we can just push on their heavies here. If there's something like under here.
We have three mice to their 2 heavies.
Yeah.
We should be fine taking the fight. We just need to...
Nice
so
shot.
Basically, we just rotate. We rotate hills. Like, we'll give them our hill and we take theirs.
Yeah. Even if it's just
do
like...
you want me on cap, or I'm on like just...
even if we go from like this corner right into here, and then into the IS-4, just so we don't get lit coming across this field here.
Okay, how do we... Should we... I think we should mount for this sort of like, this push play.
All mice move up?
What do we think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of
Mice are
all
going.
of them?
Yeah, all mice move up. Makos, let's shift.
Because, like, you were... Okay, there's the IS-4. He's moving into the houses. He's moving to the houses.
That's good. We can kill him pretty easily with the bats pushing.
We all got
literally
lit.
just, like, use this house for cover.
Yeah, all mice
here,
lit.
by the way. Bat shot's here. I took it 1 shot worth of damage from the bat shot. I might take 1 more. No, I didn't. Oh, IS-4 can probably shoot me.
Are we gonna go from above
Bat shot
here?
was here in the,
Okay,
in the bush.
so the bats are gonna push the IS-4, and the mice are gonna push into here. But it's important that the mice go first, basically.
Okay.
Are the
You want
mice
us to go
ready?
now?
Are the mice ready?
No, not yet, not yet.
Not yet.
Let Arcology load, alright?
Yeah.
I don't wanna... Can Major go first? Because I don't wanna...
Yeah.
I took
Stay dark.
They
And
had
we're
a
going
bat
right
shot
past?
here. Like, they had a bat here.
No. We stop in the buildings and we just kill him. The buildings give us cover.
We need to get
so
some speed, Andy.
it's pretty good.
Major, just go. Arclid,
Yeah.
are you loaded?
Yeah, I'm ready.
We need some speed, so.
Going. Mouse are just going to keep going
Ready?
through F2.
Yeah,
Yes.
just sort of shoot the IS-4 as you go by, but you're looking
Yeah,
for
let's-
anything underneath, and you're just
Ready
trying
to
to
go?
take this
Burden
hill.
fart.
Let's go. Let's go.
There's
Let's
a
go.
mouse.
Another mouse.
Wait for fast. We're just gonna
We're good. We're good.
We can't. There's a mouse covering.
Bats are,
Way to go.
E7.
IS-4 fired at me.
All right, we'll kill the IS-4 and then just stay 3 on
Bats
cap.
are in the city. Bats are in the city.
We can, yeah.
Don't get lit by the mouse. Don't get lit by the mouse.
Think we gotta keep pushing forward?
Yeah, we gotta keep pushing. We're committing
there's
to
one
pushing.
Shield the
Shield
Neutralize
heavies.
the
Shield the
hive.
heavies.
Major!
What? I'm not even touching you, dude. That's
Sorry, it's Swipple. Never
That
mind,
was
it's
me.
Swipple.
So we're looking for nationwide now.
I'm gonna turn back. I'm gonna
Nice,
turn back
nice,
control
nice.
middle.
Bat
Nice, nice,
behind
nice.
us.
Watch
bat
the
behind
mouse.
us.
Watch
Bat
the
on our
mouse.
backside. On our backside. Our bats
Oh,
keep
fuck.
going forwards. Go forwards. Go forwards. Go forwards.
Bats
Hide
escape,
from
please.
the bats. Hide from the bats. Guys, hide from the bat chat.
So our mice need to
Yeah.
sort of actually go on their bats, basically. Like my
90
local.
is
I
at
know.
me.
We need to
This
get that
mouse
mouse,
is
though.
still
I'm
shooting
gonna
us.
die.
Dirgil
now.
we have to let Dirgil keep farming, basically. That's the thing.
Guys, you're surrounded.
Mr.
You have to
Porto
push
one.
somewhere.
We have to push over and away from Dirgil.
Push
Nine
over.
is
Are they
behind.
pushing?
Oh,
Make us
Arcad's
as
there.
2.
And there we go. 07 goes for a risky attack, not having a lot of options with their lineup versus the more flexible and swift-moving Dare lineup. And, well, it starts to fall flat on his face as well. All of the bat
But
chats.
this isn't over yet because these 3 mouses still have more HP.
Oh, you were saying?
Yeah, well, that's all gone. Just too many angles opened up by these bat chats. It's all about the pressure these mouses can keep on, and these bat chats are doing a great job at kiting them around, driving in different directions, making it impossible for them to get a solid pick.
Exactly. It's just this is how you use mobility against heavier armor and higher DPM. Yes, these mouse in a straight face-on-face fight with the current Dare lineup could possibly focus fire their way to victory, but you still just have too many guns on the battlefield. And 07, you could hear it. They had an idea about what to do, but they had to improvise. This wasn't the planned attack they wanted to go for. The lineup from Dare with that IS-4, with the mouse, and with more mobility as well was just, I think it was too much, Rox. I think that's where this really didn't work out.
Well,
what could 07 have even tried to do?
The biggest thing there was the mouses weren't in a position to deal with the bat chats. They were there to push around. They expected the mouse or one of the heavy tanks to be directly in front of them on the 3 line, but the mouse from Dare being over at G1 kind of threw a wrench into their plans. If the mouses had stayed towards the high ground and the bat chats had carried the momentum, they might have been able to do it. But still, even 3 bat chats against 1 mouse, that's a tall task with the current state of the mouse trying to kill him. And then because they'd wasted so many shots on the IS-4, they didn't have enough left for the bat chat.
Yeah, and that's going to be it right there. Dare is coming back into the series as it is now 4-2. Dare is up. We early on just kind of stepped back. early in this, we thought 07, oh, wow, you just took 2 wins on steps, right?
Yep.
Throwing things out the window. And we wanted to see if Dare would go on tilt and start losing, right? It looks like they rallied. It looks like Dare has really kept themselves under control.
Yep, and Aggressor has been a big part of that. Well, he started off a bit slow. He started picking things up. He's put up a good amount of damage, including his last game doing 2,700 damage. For those that don't know Aggressor, we put together another little interview piece with him, so check it out.
I love this game because the mouse is broken. I love this game because RNG does not help you at all.
Well, Aggressor also knows that he doesn't have support right now, so he's going to push in. He is going to find the shot on the Merles.
I love this game because you can get one-shotted and still have fun.
Gets the connection and takes him down. A great shot there from Aggressor. Not an easy shot in that E100.
I actually was in a clan called Tesla, and there was a person called Diddles. And he wanted to make a team, and I was like very interested in it because I never actually heard of the WGLNA or the league at all during that time. So I tried it out and got completely destroyed. It was miserable. But and then I ran into this guy named Halo. He was a good friend of mine, Mark, and then we made Lamp in 2015. Go Lamp.
And looking at the damage here, Durgel and that mouse, 4K damage, 100 fantasy points. And then Aggressor, who we just saw in that interview, 2,700 damage, 3 kills, 72 fantasy points.
Yep, My Little Putin after that, and Nationwide showing why the Bat Chats of Dare know exactly what to do when presented with their ideal scenario, which is plenty of prey to come pick off. And on the second page, you can see it right there. Swipple, Fossa, and Andy Pants, they didn't get all of their shells off. They didn't get to be as effective as they wanted to be. And that's 07 dropping it. Now, where we are right now, 07 must win the next 2 battles in order to have any chance of going to the finals. One more win by Dare, it's match point, and they will walk away with a victory.
Let's see what happens as we go into our last and final map.
Runeberg, a mixed type map. The defending team starts the battle on the green, and the attacking team starts at the centre square of the town. Bases are located quite far from each other. Both bases are better controlled from the village when playing a heavy setup. It's better to attack the first base through the top direction with the help of several well-armoured heavy tanks. For the attack on the second base, it's better to use a more mobile setup and either play through the centre or split forces. In general, the map is not easy to play on. Teams often use blind shots and risky shifting of the forces from one flank to another.
And now what could be 07's last match of the season, they're going to be facing off against Dare. And with lineups like this, Rox, break it down for me. What do you see?
A mouse, 2 215Bs, a 50B, an STRV 103B, a Batchat, and an M4043. An odd choice on Ruinberg. Meanwhile, 07, who have to attack, they have to do one of the hardest things to do in this league. Win an offense on Ruinberg right now to keep their playoff hopes alive. They're bringing 2 mouses, 2 Type 5s, an STRV 103B of their own, a Batchat, and Fosta playing that AMX 1390.
And Fosta has already moved out into a passive position. This shows just more of 07's preparation by choosing, let's go to cheeky off-color spots where most of our opponents will not expect us to be. But whether or not this is going to pay off at all is the big question. And on my screen, I'm seeing Swipple and Major Issues spotted, both Type 5s. Out in the open, spotted by Aggressor, a little blind fire out there to see, hey, how you doing? See if they can force some heads down. And that's going to actually allow Arclet and Warbender in the mouse to move a little farther ahead without being spotted. So I believe Dare still doesn't know where the mouse is. R407. Blind fire, though, hits Warbender. I mean, throwing out there, slow enough tanks, might catch something.
The artillery, not something we see a whole lot, but it is a great tool to reset the cap on this map, especially when you leave them up at A0. It can be a liability when teams play the north, though, because if they can take that A6 village, there's not a whole lot of places for that artillery to go. And Swipple gets caught out in the open by the S-Tank and the mouse.
He has to burn his...
over half his HP.
He had to burn his kit right there early on. And a Type 5. This is such a healthy tank. It's already taken so much damage, but a little bounce right there. Wasting a shell of My Little Putin, not bad. That's a little opening.
The winner of this match gets to come here to Burbank to our live finals. So much on the line right now. They need this win, and they are bleeding HP left and right. Swipple down to almost a one-shot. Arclet's lost over 1,000 already. They have found a little bit of damage onto the 215B and 50B of Dare Rising.
Oh, and Fosta's lit. The reset comes in. That cheeky play is not going to work out any longer.
But Aggressor, look at him. He's taking a lot of damage. Type 5 could need a massive connection.
Yep, and that's exactly why you want the Type 5 on this battlefield. High profile, he can sneak shells right over that hill. Now look at this. We're going to take the artillery view of Chase Potato. This is the uncommon choice. Is he going to be able to make something happen?
And he gets it blind.
What?
Onto Andy Pass.
He couldn't see him at all. Just throws one out there, and you know what? Just see. Just shoot. I don't even know. Okay, moving on. That's what it is. Dare is taking the lead. 11,000 hit points, 9,000.
Chase Potato, you dirty, dirty man.
I think this is about to be it. This is about to be the win for Dare unless 07 can find a miracle. And yes, Aggressor is going to keep bouncing some shells there. Finally connection to the Warbender. And I'm not seeing an option. 07 is not rallying to the cause. They're not able to find an opening or push the objective at all. This is just the clock is ticking.
Another shot out, only 200, but that's going to be plenty for Burton to come in here and help clean this up. Foster, though, chiming in, trying to get some shots onto Burton. And this is not looking good for 07. Their playoff hopes are being crushed right now before our very eyes.
Yeah, Dare has really rallied in this series, Rocks. They've started rough. It did not look good at all. In fact, there was even just mass confusion, you could even call it, in battle number 1. But once you get to battle number 2, then everything turned around battle 3. And right now, Dare is looking to be able to clean this one up, take the win against 07.
They started off 2-0 down. We worried if Tilt was going to creep in. We worried if this was going to be a problem, and now they have won 5 straight games.
Yeah, that's the kind of comeback that you want to see from a team that's going to make it to our season finals. And they've managed to do this with a margin that I think is respectable, because Dare needed to prove something today. They needed to prove that even though they're third place, they have higher aspirations.
They needed to prove that they had some grit, that they could stick in a tough match, that they could claw one out.
Exactly, and that they're better than what we've seen them as, because they've been jumping around in the standings all season, Rocks. They've performed well on one day and then looked like a totally different team, disorganized even on some others. And what we need to see from a team that's going to win our season finals is that consistency. And here it is. Here is the start. Can they stay consistent from here on out?
Dare Rising are 449 HP away from claiming their spot here in Burbank on April 8th. They will take on Eclipse. And what a way they did it. 07 put up one heck of a fight.
It's only a few kills now, and it should be all over. Makos looks for one, but doesn't find it. Nationwide sneaks it in. That's going to be it. 5-2. Dare wins over 07.
What a series that won. They just won 5 straight rounds, guys. 5 straight rounds. Starting off 2-0 down to come back, to get the win, to secure their spot here in Burbank, California. What a journey.
Yep, they'll be joining us at the finals April 8th. And actually, let's take a moment actually and say 07 deserves respect here. They started a series off that they were not expected to get wins on in steps. They took that one 2 away from Dare, showing that they weren't just a pushover team. They were really going to be a tough fight for Dare. But guess what? Dare rallied. They did not lose focus and hope. And you could see it right at the end.
And oh my lord, Burden Fungus. You see him in here doing some damage through these clips. You see the blind shot here coming out from Chase, getting the kill onto Andy Pants. But look at Bird here, taking on major issues. He did almost 6,000 damage this game, as well as 2 kills.
Hey, do not underestimate. The mouse buff has given it some insane DPM in the right hands. That's what happened.
And Bird is a great heavy take player in his own right, let alone in the mouse, and just did work this game.
Cannot believe it, right?
I want to see how many fantasy points that translates into, because he got some resets in there as well. 116 fantasy points, 5,800 damage, 2 kills. What a game.
94% accuracy on top of that, by the way.
It's like missing 1 or 2 shots.
He missed 1 shell, bounced 2. And that's
bad.
And reasonably, out of 16 shells fired total, that's good. That's really good. So if you picked him up today, you're a winner.
Yep, no, he did some huge work. Bird's one of the picks that I've gone to so often. Opted not to run him today, though, and I kind of regret it.
I'm so sorry, Rockstar. You'll have maybe better luck next time. Maybe better luck next match. But look at these post-match stats right now, and you'll see that Durgel was one of the top picks today, one of the top performers in the match. He didn't necessarily put up the top total damage, but he did put up top fantasy points right there. And you'll see that Aggressor, someone we focus on as well, has done that.
Yep, and Milo Putin, 338. And now let's go ahead and take a look at our playoff picture as it stands right now.
Yeah, if you're going to be seeing it, 07 Gaming is out, Dare Rising moves on. It's a real simple bracket, guys. And you'll see Eclipse versus Dare will be at our finals. Top Tier versus Aquatic, which is going to be coming up next. That one will go off to face against Elevate.
Yep, and now once again, we already touched with our correspondent a little bit earlier. Well, let's go ahead and talk to her once again, get an update from her.
Hey, thanks, guys. Congrats to Dare Rising. We're really looking forward to having you guys here on April 8th. It's going to be amazing. Before we get back into all that stuff, we've got some Twitter questions. At Tweet Time wants to know what's going to be the best swag at the finals, and the answer to that is shirts signed by pro players, Ute, and Chieftain, which is kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime great memorabilia item. And then we've got Zero Projects with the hard-hitting questions wanting to know, what products does Meadowhawk use for his golden locks? And the answer he let us know was Tresemme shampoo and conditioner. So nice to know that your heroes still use drugstore products. And now we're going straight into an interview with Aggressor, if you guys want to take that away.
Thank you so much, Alex. Aggressor will be joining us here on the broadcast. Thank you, sir, for hopping on up. I think we have him on the line right now, sir. Aggressor, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
Hello?
fantastic. So that was a rough start, Aggressor. What went on? I want to start off with that.
So the Artie, we thought we knew where the UDs was, but we didn't. That kind of ruined our plans for that. So they played really well with that positional.
It seemed like that alone just threw you guys off. Like understandably, everything hinges around finding him, but it seemed like that really got to you guys to start the series.
Well, because we couldn't find him, the timings were off for us, and that put us further and further and further back. And once we got to the 2-minute mark, we finally got the boost up, and then we spotted him at like 1 minute, and we were like, well, we can't do anything now. Game over.
And then battle number 2, it again a bad start for you guys. Really rough that Artie kill right off the bat.
You know, we kind of knew. I saw it coming, but. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get a bad game.
I feel you.
All right, Aggressor. So at what moment was it? Was it someone that said something? Was it a play that you guys made? At what point did you guys start making things click, and what point did you guys turn that battle around?
When we got that 7-0 on, what was it, the first Mines game, when we beat them with no deaths, that definitely, I think, turned the game around right there.
Do you think that stopped 07's momentum there? Because it felt like they certainly started with an advantage over you guys in that sense.
I mean, I can't speak for them, but usually when a team gets 7-0, it's not a very good feeling, and I'm sure that influenced their decision-making. Also, the fact that they weren't bringing Artie was really helping us out.
Really? You think that, go on, sir, actually. Tell us, what do you think would happen if they'd done that?
Well, if you bring Artie, you can't play Cap you can still play Cap, but you have to play, you have to counter the Artie in a sense. So you have to get a guy on the boost and mines to blind fire the Artie, so you can actually cap with the mice. Because that's the whole idea of that strat. And you get the mice low.
Yeah, thanks for the insight, Aggressor. And actually, overall, final question: what do you think of this match, and what do you think this says that you're ready for the finals?
I mean, definitely going to practice a lot more. There's a lot of stuff we screwed up on. Games were closer than I wanted. We're definitely going to practice. I can't underestimate anyone, you know?
All right. Well, again, I wanted to say this one again. Congratulations, Aggressor. And we look forward to seeing you here at the finals. Any final words before we let you go?
I hope you guys are all watching the playoffs and following it. And hope I get to meet some of you guys in the LAN.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here. Aggressor, I'll let you get back to celebrating with your team. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. You guys have a good one.
Bye. All right.
And what a match that was. Not how I saw that ending after those first 2 rounds. I thought 07 were in position to steal it away. I thought Dare Rising might be a little bit too tilted, a little bit uneasy, but they managed to keep it together. They turned around. They showed the grit that they had. They pulled it together, and they got the win. And that, maybe gives me some hope for them as they go in to play Eclipse here in Burbank.
Yeah, and I certainly agree with what Aggressor said. There's practice to be done. There were mistakes. There were gaps in knowledge that Dare needed to fill, and there is certainly a level of discipline and maybe energy focus there that they'll need to shore up when they come to the finals. You cannot be in a live setting on stage with the lights, sound, headsets, that environment, and you cannot be in a place where your team is not emotionally ready. And so that's what I see as the weakness right now for Dare. It's not something they can't fix. Absolutely something that in the few weeks until the finals on April 8th, that they should be able to shore up and really clean that and hone their skill.
Yep. Well, now that we have one of the final two teams left, we still have to find out who's going to be the fourth and final team joining us here in the Burbank for our finals on April 8th. Will it be top tier or will it be M60s? We'll find out when we get back from this short piece. And we are back with more World of Tanks action. We just watched 07 get defeated by Dare Rising in a great match, closer than many of us thought it would be. And up next, we have Aquatic M60s up against Top Tier 1. This is a match that a lot of us have been looking forward to.
Oh yeah, this is Top Tier, a team which is just new to the league. They came in with a vengeance. Rude said, I'm going to go to the finals. And guess what? They're almost there. Yep. One more step for them. Aquatic has failed to make it to our finals numerous times before. This is their chance.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the playoff picture as it sits right now before we get underway with our last battle.
Yep. Currently, 07's out. Dare faces Eclipse at our finals. Top Tier and Aquatic, you're about to see that coming up just in a moment. They'll face Elevate on April 8th at our finals here in Burbank.
I almost feel bad for these two teams because they go, all right, we have to play our hearts out right now. We have to get this win. We got to get it. And all of a sudden, after we win, we have to go play Elevate for our first round at the live finals.
It's a daunting, it's certainly a little scary looking forward, but they're in the moment right now. And right now, I need you guys to tweet at us at WGLNA, hashtag WGLNA, and answer the question of the day. That is, what are the two teams joining us? We've already figured out just the one of them. Now we're about to figure out the other. Is it going to be Top Tier or is it going to be Aquatic M60s? Let us know. Even why could be an interesting thing to throw in your tweet. Not just Aquatic or Top Tier. Tell me why. We'll feature those here on the broadcast. And Rockstar, after the first one, Dare wins. 07 shows us something a little different with Top Tier and Aquatic. Who's your bet? Just to start this one off, who are we leaning towards?
I'm definitely leaning towards Top Tier. I think momentum's in there, but I said this earlier and I'm going to say it again. Of the two teams that beat Top Tier in the second round robin, one was Elevate, our season champions so far through the regular season.
Okay.
And the other was Aquatic M60s. So if there's anyone that could take them down, they've shown that they can do it. We'll have to find out if they can do it again.
Yeah, but before we get to that match, we're going to look at the rosters real quick, go over that for you, because these are the players to look for. You're going to be watching Rude Awakening, is one of the main callers, also a solid player. He's the heart of the team.
Yeah, but another superstar to look at, Akako and Muriel. Both of them have been great players for this team all season, putting up great numbers. Akako, a real superstar in those heavy tanks. Muriel, normally playing a bat chat, gets around, sometimes in a 50B, puts up great numbers. Muriel actually one of the top fantasy point scorers for the league as well.
And on the other side of Aquatic, Felix and Morphic lead the team. Mr. Man, always one of those guys to watch out for. But I see Veggie, Dark Ninja, Vio, Marsh, all of the players on this roster are superstars waiting to happen.
And Bales was their MVP essentially last season. He had massive performances, and he's been relatively quiet so far this season, just quietly doing his thing. So we're going to need to see him step up today if they're going to stand a chance at taking down Top Tier.
All right, now we're looking at the map order choices reflecting by those logos up there. Aquatic has chosen Himmelsdorf, Ghost Town chosen by Top Tier, Aquatic chooses Murrow, Mines is the last map, and the tiebreaker today, of course, is Prohorovka. So with that, who's on this one on Himmelsdorf, then going into Ghost Town? What do the stats say about these teams?
Well, we start off with two maps that are very one-sided for the respective teams. First, we have Himmelsdorf, which definitely favors Aquatic M60s. Top Tier have had some very poor performances on it recently.
Yeah.
But then we go on to Top Tier, a map where Aquatic M60s have less than a 20% win rate on this season. So
yeah, the
contrast,
Town, said, right?
Yeah, Ghost Town. The contrast we're going to see in these first two maps, I really think it'll open up like the first one and should be a 2-2 series, and then it's going to be anyone's game after that if it goes that way. Now, if one of those teams can find an edge early on, then I think they could steal away with the win pretty quickly. But I really think it's going to come down to the early momentum in the series.
Yeah, and trying to get those early wins is risky. But you know what? We'll get into that in a minute because I'm being told we have both representatives from Top Tier and Aquatic M60s. They're ready for the face-off. Gentlemen, welcome to the face-off. We'll get started with Rude Awakening. Rude, your team that you just threw together for this season, man, is all the way here at the playoffs. What do you have to say for yourselves as far as your journey here so far?
We worked hard. We practiced hard. We practiced well recently. We've improved a lot over the last 2 months, and we're ready to go.
And you think you guys are ready to take on Elevate at the finals?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we are.
All right. And then on the other side, Rox.
Mr. Man, so you guys last season, you kind of famously came into the playoffs and you lost to the 6th seed. This time you have a little bit better positioning, but you have to play Top Tier, a team that has been giving a lot of people trouble. What have you guys done differently? What have you guys done to prepare? And how do you feel you're ready right now? Do you guys think you're there?
Yeah, we definitely do. We've been preparing a lot. kind of assumed that was going to be top tier based on the like who played who. We thought that we were going to be facing them in the playoffs, so we've been preparing for a while for this match.
All right, so compared to last time that you guys were here, this is Mr. Man. Last time you guys were here, you got upset. What have you guys done to change or shore up those weaknesses? Those little things that let an opponent just run away with a match that you otherwise should have under your control?
That's kind of been something we've been working on all season, and in the beginning of the season we still had some of those problems, but we've been progressing throughout the season. I think we're finally being more consistent.
All right, you guys are ready to go. So last question for Rude Awakening. Rude,
so throughout the whole season, you just said that you felt like you've improved a lot over the last few months. What is the one most important thing that you feel that you guys have improved upon since the start of the season?
Comms.
Yeah, very simple.
Comms.
They're crisp and clean, aren't they? Squeaky clean.
They're getting better. Obviously, when we're in a serious situation, I expect our comms to be top notch today.
All right, we'll be sure to check on that, Rude. All right, final words, Mr. Men. Anything?
Good luck. Have fun.
All right, Rude. Anything else before we see?
I'll see you guys at the LAN.
All right, thank you guys for that one. That's confidence. We'll see you on the battlefield. For a moment, it didn't click for a second. I realized, oh, okay, he just said he'll see you at LAN. All right, that's confidence. That's the way you go to a face-off. You go up to your opponent and you say, oh, yeah, congratulations. I'm super sorry. My condolences for the loss you're about to suffer. And that might throw him off.
Yeah, just super calm, cool, collected, just ready to go. That's just kind of how Rude Awakening rolls.
Yeah, he's in control. That's just how I feel like he is. He's one of those people that seems like he's consciously in the moment all the time, just aware of exactly what's going on. He's not dwelling on something else.
And you see that reflected in his college style as well.
Yeah.
Because he's able to just predict things, read things that he hasn't even spotted, said this is probably here, this is probably there. And we've heard him time and time again where he's called out different things. And then we look at our screen, they're like, well, they're right there, right where he said they'd be, and he has no reason to know this is there. So I guess he's just psychic.
He does and he doesn't, right? It's that once you're good enough and you understand your opponent well enough and you just see these little things happen, you start to be able to put together the big picture, especially when you're doing it every day.
Well, a combination of, your previous experiences, you're doing your homework, studying videos and whatnot, and then just process of elimination. You can, like you said, you can put those puzzle pieces together even if they have no real shapes to them. You can kind of figure out what goes where.
Yeah, because it's like you look at the lineup first. You see, okay, my opponent has brought these tanks. The options my opponent has for strategies are then limited by those tank choices in many ways. And then you just say, okay, well, what can they do that's actually going to be effective? Do something about that. Or what can I do to make sure my opponent is then kind of just dragged around like a 3-year-old on a kitty leash, Like, I'm going to make you do things. You're not going to take me anywhere around this. That's what you do when you start to understand. Then, just like you've seen Rude do, especially on Prororovka in one special instance, you break it down for your team. Just piece by piece, right?
Yep, you have to just take it. You have to put everything out. You have to say, this is what I think is going on. This is what we're going to do and why. And that paints a picture for the whole team to understand, so you're all on the same page.
Yeah, because if you just tell your guys push forward, they might go, okay, we're pushing forward, but what happens at the fork in the road, right? The proverbial fork in the road.
Yeah, you have to give them as little doubt as you can. They have to know that you've thought everything through, and they should know what to do in different cases. And if you've thought of every little contingency, you'll say, all right, if they have a tank up here, this is what we're going to do. And he's so good at just outlining all those little contingencies, thinking things all the way through, and not just thinking one step ahead, but thinking 2, 3, 4 steps ahead, and really reading their opponent.
Yeah, and I really feel like we can't harp on it enough. Clear and clean communication changes everything. If you make the same call, but you stutter over and stumble over your own words, it's going to your team is just not going to perform as well.
Yep. Well, let's find out if top tier and aquatic M60s are here to perform today as we head into our first map of the series.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
And here we go, top tier at 113, 3 mouses, a Batchat, a JPE 1390. Meanwhile, aquatic M60s, 250Bs, 3 mouses, an Object 263, and an AMX 1390.
All right, so that 263 choice. How many of those have we seen this season? A hand? Not, have we seen?
I don't think we've seen any. I'll tell you in a second.
I thought we've maybe seen 1 or 2. I can
Find
think
out.
maybe obscurely, but this is a tank which we haven't seen much of, and I'll have to jump over to it.
We haven't seen it at all this season.
Yeah, this is it. That Object 263, also painted by the way, with the aquatic M60's camo, which looks much like you took a hole puncher and you then spilled
Well, you
it.
know what it reminds me is the little paint dots the kids have, little cans with the caps on them.
That's I'm thinking of like the hole puncher, the same kind of concept. It just that when you punch holes out of like paper to put to a 3-ring binder, and then you spill that everywhere, and it seems to never go away. You can always find one more little tiny freaking piece of paper, right?
It's like confetti.
Yes.
Never goes away. And that 263, since it got the HD buff, armor got a little bit buffed. The gun mantlet around the gun there got a little bit smaller, so it's harder to hit, especially at range. And this 263, something that's horrendously underrated about it, is its shell velocity. It is a laser, and it is such a great tank in the right hands.
And look at this. Felix just whips his mouse around. We're looking at the POV right now, where we can see the way what the players are actually looking at, which way they're looking. Even if they right-click to hold their turret in one direction and look another, that's what you're seeing. And so Felix, I can tell right now, he just whips his mouse around. He just flicks it. He doesn't smoothly drag it or anything.
And Rude's going to get caught out.
Oh, no!
And he gets deleted.
Oh!
The triple tap by the mouses.
Out of nowhere. And that's going to be it. Okay. That's a tank down that did not need to go down early on. But it's not over. Top tier didn't lose something that's
simply a 1390
exactly,
on defense.
On Himmelsdorf.
It's unfortunate, but not insurpassable.
Exactly. Of any time that Rude Awakening could go down in an unexpectedly swift fashion, this is the ideal. Like, as far as bad situations go, this is something top tier can recover from, especially on defense, right? So Aquatic now has that small lead. This is great for them. It's an opening. They're going to be able to get into the north side of the map, possibly pressure the 2-cap, and from there, see what comes, right? But take a look at top tier. Look at the ways their tanks are already laid out. Look at the south side and notice how there's a flank waiting to happen. And you'll see that it's Delth, and I'll jump over there. Delth in the 113 is way down south right now. He can move in and flank. Same with X-Soldier in the Bat Chat. Now, what's also something I see happening, and tell me what you think of this, Rox, are we going to see a counter push from that 1390 of Marsh combined with Dark Ninja in the 50B? Because I see them right now moving and getting out there. Dark Ninja even going all the way onto the K line in the far south.
Well, and I like this because this is simply a hammer and anvil strat. It's using the 3 mouses as your pivot. They had them in the south where they controlled the hill. Once they got the mouses up, now they're swinging the light tanks back around the other direction.
And here we go. Marsh is in the open. He's spotted. Gets hit for 424. And then Dark Ninja moves in to try to return fire, but Delth slips out of the way just in time. So a little free damage right there onto Marsh. He's not going to be as durable going into the next fight. And there's a shell wasted for one of the 50Bs. And there we go. Dark Ninja takes a shell also from the north. So solid crossfire here from top tier, putting out a little about 1,500 hit points of damage and not taking a lot in return yet. So good
Bales needs to be careful because Pompous is lurking at the end of that alley.
He doesn't realize what he's walking into.
And he look at how he's playing the angle. He knows that something's down there. He's making sure not to expose to it, not to go too far. And Pompous actually has no interest in it. He's turning around and he's leaving. Unless he's trying to get some distance to get out of draw range, it looks like he's just going to be heading to the north.
Yeah, a good play. This is the right thing for top tier. Don't stick around because the more time you spend in the south there, the better a chance is that a better counterplay from Aquatic will come in. They control the south. They're able to flex there a lot easier and cover it. On the other side, top tier wouldn't be able to bring in that support. So pulling out's a good idea and let that delay be what it was. Now, Bales is going to peek against X-Soldier, and then Dark Ninja shows up, but unfortunately, the damage just isn't there yet. The connections haven't come in. And just more shells being wasted, X-Soldier getting out the damage he wants to.
Really sloppy trades by Aquatic M60s, having to reload these Bat Chats once again, and they've only done 1 shot of damage to X-Soldier. Meanwhile, the trade's going on in that north cap. Mr. Man and Veggie both taking some damage. The 263 hasn't really been able to get too many shots into here, but I expect to see him creep forward pretty soon.
And that tank destroyer, Felix, gets tracked actually, taking no damage yet. He's going to start moving up.
Feeling Potato bounces the shot from Pompous in that JPE.
And I'm seeing even some action looking like it's winding up in the south. We'll check on that in a moment if it becomes more relevant. But right now I'm thinking the cap pressure in the north is one of the most vital moments for us as X-Soldier, yes, does look like he's taking some damage down there. Jump down and see what's to catch up on. Yeah, X-Soldier's about to go down, and a bounce off his backside lets him not quite get in that last shell as Dark Ninja.
Bales is down to a one-shot all of a sudden. Bounces another shot. And Marsh, trying to get into the act, gets one more shot for 204. But now both these 50Bs are reloading, and Delph only has a moment to take advantage of it.
Yep, and will he be able to get out a significant amount of damage is my big question. He's not finding anything at all, though. And this is not good. We might see Delph completely stranded as there. Bales throws one little shell out there. Dark Ninja catches him with another. And now the crossfire. Delph is going to be taken down.
And finally, good teamwork there from Aquatic M60s. Bale, someone we talked about earlier, needing to step up and perform. And he is doing great so far after that first volley. And now Pompous on cap as well, trying to get the shot off. Nits trading in exchange there.
And exits. I'm liking the way that he's playing this, but it's tricky. He's out in the open. He's exposed. He's trying to get some work done, but solid connections here and there.
Felix in this 263 is going to creep in. He's going to square off with Pompous. Doesn't get the penetration on his first shot.
And Aquatic is looking like they should be able to take this if they can keep the slow play going. They just need to deal the damage.
And another bounce onto that 263. That armor coming in huge there.
I did not realize it would be that effective. I think we've all really underestimated the 263 and how bouncy it can be now.
And another pen there, that laser cannon going straight through the JPE superstructure.
That's 600 damage, right?
Yeah.
And
it's a 560 alpha gun.
And that hits harder than a lot of heavy tanks you see out there. That's why this is a good choice. And it's able to hold down its own lane, deal plenty of damage. There goes exits. Pompous will be next. There he goes. And two more need to go down. Oh, Alghako before we even get to notice. And now Mariel is stranded all by his lonesome out on the west side. Oh, look at this. You got two caps going at the same time. Just taking it to the next level of just rubbing in your first win. This is, by the way, Aquatic M60s is about to ace top tier. This is no deaths in battle number 1. That is a dominant way to start the series, guys. That is about as good as you could hope, isn't it?
Yep, and Felix going to come in here, actually bounces off the back of that mouse. Another penetrating shot there, and there you had to go and say something, Randall, because Merle picks up a kill onto Bales. Not a clean sheet, but good enough as Aquatic M60s get the first win of the series.
There we go. All right, that's that. That is the start you wanted to see from Aquatic. Top tier, Rude's going to have to get them back into gear because that was a loss on defense on Himmelsdorf.
But remember, like I said at the start of this, this was going to be a series of 2 maps that were going to go between these 2 different teams as far as it was going to be one-sided towards one and then the other one's going to be one-sided towards the other. So you have Himmelsdorf should be favored towards Aquatic M60s early. This is to be expected. What's going to happen, though, is once we move on to the second map of Ghost Town, that should go in favor of top tier. If it doesn't, that's where we need to start worrying for top tier.
All right, so that's just a reminder, you know, hey, this is expected. Top tier's just not good at the map generally. All right. I felt like they seemed to have a decent understanding. It's just strange they don't seem to be able to get that execution. Yeah, losing Rude Awakening, I guess, early on like that just kind of does give a little tell.
Well, and on the season, they played this map 24 times, but they only have a 40% win rate. Where Aquatic M60s, they've played it 14 times, and they have a 60% win rate.
All right, so a little bit more experience on the map, but far less success.
Yep, and look at all the damage done this game. Even Mr. Man coming in there, 91 fantasy points. Not bad. Dark Ninja, top damage dealer for Aquatic M60s. Exits, top damage dealer for top tier. Pretty consistent out of those 3. They're always some of the best performers on these teams. And Bales, another 2,200 in that 50B.
Not bad from Bales, especially in the new mouse meta. It's a little trickier to get the damage you want in a 50B. So every single 50B player that used to be able to rack up damage all day, every day, is now having to really work for it.
Yep, and Feel My Potato actually having a decent game there, 90 fantasy points. Most of that's because of the cap pressure. And then Rude Awakening, who got triple tapped by those mouses as soon as he came down that alley.
Oh, Pompous in the Yagpounds didn't get almost even 1,000 damage.
He bounced a lot of shots. I'll pull that up real quick.
That was against the 263 choice we saw, right? That was
well, the
mostly
263. Pompous, he fired 4 shots,
Yeah.
only had 1 pen, where Felix had 4 bounces for 2,500, so not bad there.
Yeah, so as we switch sides and we get ready for battle number 2, it's going to be top tier attacking and aquatic M60s now defending. Looking at the lineups, Rocks.
Top tier, a 50B, 3 mouses, a bad chat, an E4, and a 1390. Meanwhile, aquatic M60s, 3 mouses, a Type 5, a bad chat, and 2 T95s.
All right, Doom Turtle defense. And we'll see where those go. Where they chill out is going to be important because look at this. If we saw Type 5s, there's a way to deal with a T95. You just shoot the roof, deal good 400-500 damage, carry on with your day. But with Mouse, yes, you've got the elevation, you can fire into the hatches just fine, but it's going to be a little trickier, especially at longer ranges.
I agree completely. And that Mouse, the other thing to remember is at range, the T95 has to shoot up into the Mouse, so that's going to add extra angling to that Mouse's turret that T95 is going to have to deal with.
Yep. And you know what? As this one's getting started, Rockstar, we're seeing the layouts go. Top tier looks like slight aggression towards the hill, just taking control more than anything, and we're going to see pressure on the 1-2 line, the west side, where we're going to see probably plenty of sniping. Now, what I want to do is I want to take a moment and listen in with top tier, listen in with their comms and see what's going to what they kind of are going for as this battle is starting off.
I think something had just crossed, something else besides the field that my potato
Yeah,
just fired.
that jet's up here is trying to counter me.
Okay. Nice, okay, that's fine.
I'm going to force.
Alright, no problem, no problem. Alright, Mosses, remember, if you're going to cross that, you're going to get lit, okay?
I'm going to just stay here and
They're
stop
blind
the
fired.
line.
Fucking light that shit, please.
Okay, okay, here we go. There's
Moss
one.
still there.
There's one. Nice shot, nice shot. Okay. I can relay
There's
it
a mouse
again
on
if
both
they-
sides.
We're not going 1-2 line right now.
There's a mouse on both sides?
There's 2. Yeah, there's a mouse on both
That's
sides.
fine,
One's hitting
that's
the
fine,
one's
that's
hitting the horse set.
There's nothing. There's nothing on
Bat,
C5.
could you control the 1-2 line? Can you control the 1-2 line, Bat? Their bat is over here. Listen, we can
No, the
take
bat
these
ran.
mosses, move up through here, take control of the courtyard, and get these guys into a crossfire.
They don't have
E4,
anyone on this line
start-
at all. We can just take it. We can just push right the fuck up.
Yeah, but I want some crossfires created. So E4, see if you can come up over here and create some crossfires because we're probably gonna need to get this guy.
Roger. I'm moving
Yeah.
up.
You sure you want me down there? That
Yeah,
limits my. Okay.
Yeah, just initially, just to see what you can spot, okay?
Because me and Delph can actually kill a mouse together. With Rude.
Yeah. Alright, Mosses, go ahead, take the courtyard. What we're gonna do after we take the courtyard is we're just basically gonna control the 5 line, okay? I want to make sure, I want to know where their bat is. Ideally, like, that's
I
what
think he
X
ran
Soldier
to the
can give
1-2
us.
line to spot. He might be in a bush.
He might be at C1.
There's something shooting down right here. Right on the corner.
Okay.
Is that us or is that them?
No, that's them.
Of course it's them.
Okay. So, Pompous, you're gonna create that angle there. We're gonna need at least Miro to watch down the 5 line, okay?
So the bat's not poking here anymore, so pretty sure he ran.
There's a moss there.
Clipping.
I think our mice are lit too.
Let's
Pompey's
get both
in
of
pick
our
right now.
mice to
Pompey's in
work
pick.
that. Yeah. Well, no, Pompous isn't the pick. What are they gonna pick him with?
Moss.
Maybe.
I don't want to get
Pompous,
stuck out
Pompous,
here.
can you back off?
Just like
a
stay
little
back.
bit?
And go
Yeah,
where?
Stay back. Just like stay back here. Stay back here. Help us control the courtyard, okay?
Wait until we see the bat, and then you can move up.
Okay.
The bat's on the A line, okay?
Yeah, he's gonna be on.
I have a feeling he's back here, like A1, B2.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't think he's like close.
You know, I don't think he stayed there. There's no reason for him to.
Maybe Rude can go on the 1-2 to spot.
Yeah, let me go check the 1-2, okay? We have 6.5 minutes.
I just don't want to get stuck there, Rude. That's
fine, that's fine. You're good, you're good.
I'm gonna get darker.
By the way, Pompous, I'm not really spotting this side of there, so you could be side scraping out there. So
there's no
Could I get at least one moss near Pompous so he's not gonna get clipped by a bat? Because if the bat is there, we're fucked.
I can cross, but I could pick
Pompous,
up
get in the cover of where you can be covered by mosses.
How about
you're a pick.
How about I just get close to him? A little bit closer. If we're
No,
worried about
I'm
the
fine.
bat
I'm fine.
picking
Just keep trading with veg. Just keep trading with veg.
Well, no, you should still back off because if
I
they-
know. I am backing off. Just
I can just get on
relax,
cap and
relax.
apply cap pressure, boys.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just can you go?
I may
Wait,
be
if you're
down
watching
over here,
Eli, I'm
Rude.
gonna look
I'm
at...
watching
Where's
you
Veggie
cross.
looking? Where's Veggie looking?
He's looking towards our bosses.
At us. He's still looking at us. That's great.
They saw moving.
All right. And there you could hear it, just a little high energy right there as top tier is trying to figure out what their options are, what their plan of attack will
A couple
be.
of their players definitely seem to be on edge a little bit.
I think
and
there's
understandably
nerves.
so.
There's nerves going into this one, definitely. You got the playoffs on the line. How many thousands of dollars, depending on how you finish this match?
Well, this match just decides whether or not you get a free ride to Burbank to come play in our live finals.
Or if your career for the season ends here, and you then go on to play for 5th or 6th place, and then find out, you're varying your end position right now. Winning this guarantees you at least 4th. Losing means you could drop to 6th. Difference of tens of thousands of dollars of prize money. Your entire season, up till now, has been playing for this moment, right? You're trying to earn your way into the best standings, giving yourself the best possible chance to get to the finals. Now, if you're top tier in aquatic, you've kind of gotten to that middle ground. And so it's risky because you're playing a good team, a team about your level. And so this is very often one of the most stressful matches the entire season, because it's not that you know you're up against a consistent performer like Elevate or like Eclipse. You're up against Aquatic M60s, a team that wants this just as much as you, or against Top Tier, a team which is a newer factor and is really competing with your level of play. Look, think about it from that perspective, right? Both of these teams are a little bit afraid, possibly even capable of underestimating and overestimating their opponent at the same time. That kind of stuff, you know?
And another thing to remember here is, look at this. It's 4 minutes left, and there's still 16,000 HP left for Aquatic M60s. The top tier haven't even begun to really chip through them, except for Felix, who's going to be caught out in the open here. He needs to be careful that he doesn't get tracked, trying to make some plays there. These Mouses are going to have a field day with him. Luckily, he does have some backup.
Oh, and he will have backup. And look at the cap, though, for a moment. It's about to get reset, I think. Dark Ninja might be about to sneak a shell, barely missing on Rude Awakening. The pressure is actually mounting for Aquatic M60s to reset, as right now the attack is coming in, the pressure's coming from top tier, and if they can move soon, if they can really put the pressure on now, they may be able to actually successfully cap. No, the reset comes in 209 from Marsh in the Type 5, as he's sitting at 487, about to go down in that Type 5, and he will, just in time to get a reset and give his team a little bit more time to hold on.
Yep, and just as we were talking about that, Felix snaps a shot off, and top tier looking good right now. They've chipped away at a lot of this HP in just over a minute. They went from being down 3,000 HP to up by over 2,000. So Batchat coming in here, X-Soldier using his flexibility, takes a shot from Dark Ninja, but he should be able to clip out Veggie here.
In just a moment, be able to put that final shell in there and clean it up. And with that, there are 4 tanks alive. Dark Ninja in the T95 somewhere goes down. Bales in his Batchat is able to pick up Delph, but he's stranded on the far side of the map. And this is a strong start. This is top tier, winning on attack on Himmelsdorf. And Rox, this really throws off our prediction model.
Yeah, definitely. So now M60s are going to have to go and perform on Ghost Town and get at least one win out of there to really stand a chance this series.
And just give it a moment more and it should be able to clean itself up without any craziness. And you shall see what's going on. Bales is going to hide himself up on the high ground, trying to stay away. And just looking at everyone taking apart Mr. Man.
Cap getting down here to the final seconds. Looks like they're just going to take the cap. And that's going to be a win for Aquatic M60s. And now let's go ahead and check in with our social correspondent once again, Alex.
Hey, thanks, guys. So it's 1-1 right now, which means it's anyone's game to see who's going to come here and compete with the other 3 teams for finals. But let's take a break from that for a second and check on Twitter. We've got @WonderChef who's wondering, what are the teams playing for at finals? And the answer to that is a $325,000 prize pool, another incredible custom trophy, and an opportunity to compete at the grand finals in Moscow, which is kind of the most insane part of that whole thing. We've got @Meme1029 who wants to know, who are your favorite former Gold League teams? And for that, I'm going to kick it back to Randall and James. I know they have a lot to say about that.
Oh, good question, Alex. Okay, favorite team, you put me on the spot. Ermiger Kernevern, Simp. Back in the day, I was on Simp, so I got to kind of do that one for a little while. I had this weird love-hate thing where I love to just, like, give them tons of
hate.
hate in a weird way. Yeah, people notice that, right?
Yep.
I used to just rag on them. What about you?
I definitely have to go with Fulcrum Fnatic back in the day. They
Oh,
were so
yeah.
good. Soviet, Nagatron. They were so much fun to watch, even on the 742 days. They made it enjoyable, and I loved rooting for them every step of the way. And speaking of rooting for people, Pompous doing 4,200 damage in that E4. Not bad there for top tier as they take a win off of Aquatic M60s.
An unexpected win is the main point to drive here. Look at the top performers. Look at where things went. The Type 5 from Marsh did not get to do what it needed to. Dark Ninja and Felix in the T95s were dealt with handily. I don't feel like they were able to be as effective as they've been when they were first reintroduced, right? First few matches that we saw them, people brought them back. It was unexpected. Players weren't prepared to deal with that, and so they had a little trouble. I feel like in this case, everyone knew how to deal with the T95s. No problem.
Well, in the way that the manner in which Aquatic M60s tried to use them, I think, was the biggest thing. They had them out in front, taking a bulk of the damage, and I don't think that's the greatest position. I think they're better off using support tanks out wide at range. I think is where they're stronger.
I certainly agree. All right, well, that's going to do it for now. We're going to go back into battle as we head into map number 2.
Ghost Town. The first absolutely symmetrical map, made especially for 7 versus 7 games. The teams start the battle on opposite sides. There are numerous ways to attack here. One of the bases is located in the central square, the other one at the top of the city. The hardest battles are usually fought for the top base, and this calls for the use of heavy tanks. Sometimes the teams choose fast tanks for spotting and base capturing.
And here we go into battle number 3. Top tier, 3 Mouses, a T57, 2 Bat Chats, and a T54 Lightweight. Aquatic M60s, 3 Mouses, a Type 5, 2 Bat Chats, and a T54 Lightweight as well. So the only difference between these two teams is the T57 versus the Type 5 of Mr. Man.
Oh, almost a mirror matchup, John. Almost.
Almost.
Almost. And I almost wanted to call you Josh.
I know, I was about to say.
I almost, you heard that, right? I was like, just, not quite.
Josh, James, close enough.
And, well, it's going to be a nice slow rollout.
It looks like we're going to see one of the Bat Chats for Aquatic M60s do the climb. Dark Ninja, he's going to get up here at A1 into the high ground.
There we go. Nice normal stuff that we're seeing out of Aquatic. Top tier, though. Top tier's setting for a solid normal spread, getting into position. And right now it's looking like a very typical situation where we'll see some Mouses maybe square off, a little 200-meter, corner games, as it were. Type 5 should be able to put one into Pompous or Oghako fairly early on. We'll have to see if that one pays off with any critical damage. If so, we could see gun, even gas tanks and engine damage. If you actually fire a Type 5 shell into the top or into the front of a Mouse turret, you can actually splash and damage the gun and also set the Mouse on fire. So if you're actually in a Type 5, you don't worry about trying to find special weak points. You just shoot at the cheeks of the turret, and that's pretty much about as good as you can hope for.
Veggie takes 1,200 damage from exits in that T57 from across the courtyard.
Nicely played.
And exits takes a shot from, I believe that was Dark Ninja up at A1.
Yeah, Dark Ninja's actually sniping a few shells out there. He's able to get some connections outside of his draw range, by the way. He's not able to see those tanks. And he's able to just send himself on to reload. We'll see what other...
But when tanks are spotted, they appear on your mini-map. And if you have the right features turned on in your game settings, you can actually use the line on your mini-map, line it up with the tank on the icon, look at what's in front of you, and normally get off some pretty accurate blind fire. Now, hitting a weak spot in that case is extremely lucky, but if you can put enough shots on target, you normally get a couple penetrations in there.
Yeah, something will happen, or at the very least, you will distract your opponent and make them scared to peek out.
Or give away your position as well. Now they know they have a Bat Chat up at A1.
Yeah, that's also true. It works both ways. I feel like it gives something away, but if you want to, you know exactly how to play off that. Oh, we just told them where our Bat Chat is. All right, well, what do you do because you told them where your Bat Chat is?
Veggie is taking all sorts of abuse, down to 1,000 HP.
Oh, he is not having a nice time in that Mouse. Not at all. That's less than fun for him. So, while he's getting chewed out, probably, the other side, top tier's doing okay. A little damage here and there, but nothing crazy. There's no one that's a weak point yet for the team. So there's no place for Aquatic to really counter push through if they wanted to do something like that. They're just going to keep holding on, and a top tier is going to be, I think, looking to kind of jump onto Veggie if they can find an opportunity. But it's going to take some time, I think, before something like that comes up.
And Mr. Man just trying to hold this angle, looking around. And remember, the Type 5 doesn't care about armor or angling or anything. He has those HE shells, so he can just do damage if he can find the connection. But top tier, very smartly, just not peeking that angle and not allowing them to trade.
And a lot of fire coming in from the hills towards Delph. None of it connecting, by the way. None of it. There's thousands of damage right now just being thrown against his mouse. And nothing is connecting. Just bounce.
Well, we had one bounce there.
No, I just watched 6 or 7 of them bounce off of his front arm.
So they're connecting, they're not penetrating.
Yeah, that was what I was saying, wasn't it?
You said they weren't connecting.
They weren't.
But it's minor difference.
Connecting, I mean, you can... Connecting, bouncing, come on. You're cutting hairs for me, buddy.
Fair enough. Meanwhile, Dark Ninja, Bales, and Marshall pushing down the one line right now, trying to catch up these Bat Chats, but they're going to understand that this counter push is coming, and they're going to back out and regroup as Rude Awakening in that T-54 lightweight is going to be up on the north 1 cap.
And the timing of this couldn't be better, I think, for top tiers. They should be able to leave one of their mouse behind, probably Delph, to hold off the T-54s and Bat Chats, while the rest of the group should be able to pressure the north, take down the 3 mouse up there, and I'm thinking probably start running away with this. This depends entirely on individual player skill and their ability to make the connections they need to. Or if the mouse can maybe just hold off some of that damage. We'll have to see. But this right now is the moment for our attackers, for our red team, for top tier, to get a cap in, get a win, start off Ghost Town on their terms.
Mr. Man gets connection for 332, a little bit low even for that Type 5 HE shell. However, T-57 is going to come up, and he's going to find Mr. Man, and the push is going to come out from top tier. They're going to focus out Mr. Man, who just fired. He's looking for a shot onto one of these Bat Chats. He's going to get the connection here in a second. Only 649. He's going to go down. Veggie already dead, and Feel My Potato is going to be the next one lit up.
There we go. Keep the focus fire coming. The Bat Chats need to get out of this fight, relocate, and then wait for their reload. Now, T-57s, it's going to be important to keep them alive. There we go. Kill onto Feel My Potato and onto Felix. Nicely done by top tier, taking out the healthiest tanks on the side of Aquatic M60s, just in time for the T-57s to reload and face a Bat Chats. Dark Ninja goes down. Now it's Bales and Marsh left alive.
And that's going to be a round win here in just a second for top tier. Doing great work this game, even though Akako still full HP.
And well, there goes Marsh. Now it's Bales is the last one alive. Rox, I really feel like top tier had a strong read, and their reaction couldn't have been much better than what it was. It's this is a good, solid play, and well, just good stuff. Rox, what do you think? What do you think?
I think they just got too disjointed there. They Veggie got chipped away, lost almost all his HP for basically nothing. And that, you know, as you were saying, top tier didn't really give him any weak spot to go into. And M60s did the opposite. They gave him a tank basically for free, and once they saw that gap, they drove a bus straight into it, exploited it, and took him down. And amidst all that, Akako did another 2,600 damage. He was a real superstar for his team, not just this game, but he has been the whole season.
Yep.
Unfortunately for us, his camera, not quite the same quality as he is.
Personally, I hope this video quality was not so bad, because this is the best camera I got, so have fun.
But here comes Akako in an IS-4, and he's going to be able to pick up Drox.
I always liked tanks. Even as a child, I loved to listen to World War II stories, played with toy tanks, and read a lot of books related to World War II in one way or another. So when this game came out, it came out just in time for me to get hooked up on.
Now remember, Akako is also one of the best heavy tank players in the league as well, so two of the best squaring off there.
My favorite class is heavy tanks, because I personally like to take it up close. Like, I want to look my enemies in the eyes. My team is in playoffs because they had the needed personal skill, good color, and determination to do so. Every practice day is just like an actual match day. We take it seriously.
All right, Rox. That he certainly does need a better webcam or something. I'm sure with some prize money they're sure you could probably afford to pick something up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now they're on their way to getting a at least 4th place if they keep it up, because they're 2-1 up right now over Aquatic M60s. Now, unfortunately, whoever wins this game has to go on to play Elevate in our live finals.
Hey, that's scary, but you know what? Just getting there is an achievement on its own. It's you're just seeing how high you can go. Top tier's just seeing how far they can get, and so is Aquatic. Right now, though, it's looking like it's slightly in favor of top tier after a decisive action on Ghost Town. They read their opponent, they looked at the weak points, and they jumped on it exactly when they had enough intel to say, yes, this is the right decision. They executed well enough. Not losing, by the way, a single tank Rockstar. That was an ace. That is just like last match where we saw Dare Rising, ace 07, and the entire series turned around. This is one of those scenarios. This is where top tier can run away with the series if they have thrown Aquatic off. But if Aquatic can rally, that's the only thing I'm waiting for. They need to rally to stay in this one.
Yep, and Delph doing 3,700 damage in that mouse, as well, getting 73 fantasy points. Pompous, another 3,600, another 77 fantasy points. And Akako, the mouse player, 2,600 damage. Not bad there. No one for Aquatic M60 is really stepping up this game. Even Mr. Man in that Type 5 had 2 lackluster connections out of that HE derp gun from the Type 5.
Yeah, the Type 5s, it really looks like on paper, they look like a great tank. When you practice them around in pubs and stuff, they always perform well. But it seems like they're struggling to perform on the battlefield here with 7 versus 7.
Teams are doing a great job mitigating what Type 5s can do. As I pointed out, that they weren't exposing to him. The second they knew where he was, they were just staying off that angle because they didn't want to take any damage. And looking at it, top tier coming in here with 3 mouses, a Type 5 of their own, 2 Batchats and a T-54 lightweight. And I don't have to say any more because, Randall,
it's a mirror matchup. It's yeah. Drop the air horns, guys, because it's a mirror matchup. It's pure skill. It's all about who is the best with this exact lineup.
And M60 is now half.
See, Pompous gets it. Pompous gets it. Pompous understands because they have wub turrets. Look at this. See this. This is how you can tell people are enjoying themselves. Exits, dancing turret. Pompous decided to stop dancing with his turret. These are the little things that entertain us at the beginning of a match.
There's not much else to look at. These mouses crawl into battle.
It's a little slow to start. You know, just is what happens.
Only weighs over 100 tons, no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? But it's kind of, they just glide along so gracefully. Float, actually, was the proper term.
Crush everything in their path.
I should actually note, it's the proper term to use is it floats, because of the way the suspensions work. Many tanks will actually have less ground pressure than you or I will.
Interesting.
So, yeah, we'll get to that later. Actually, the Chieftain has a wonderful bit about that. We can go look at that. But this is going to be the main push. X-Soldier starting to get aggressed on. That's Dark Ninja and Felix chasing him down, while Veggie and Marsh are going to move in against Aghako and into the crossfire, where Delph is going to get 625 into the side of Veggie's turret.
And Aquatic M60s are losing HP. Dark Ninja down to 28. He should get picked off here in a second. Damage going onto Felix as well. Meanwhile, Aghako out in front trying to block for Veggie. But the first pick actually is X-Soldier going down for top tier. And trade still going back and forth. Shots going towards Bales. Aghako finally taking some damage. Veggie's going to take a shot here for Pompous.
But Veggie's going to go down very soon, and he's played his role well as that main mouse out in front. Cover fire onto him was sufficient, I'd say. And the Batchats off in the side, the southwest, not making as great of gains as Aquatic M60s really needed them to. Wondering if this is going to be a hold by top tier, or if Aquatic's going to be able to kind of push.
Marsh needs to get out in the open because he has 4 guns staring at him, including that Type 5, who gets the connection for 442. Exit's taking a shot in the background there, but Marsh finally going to get picked off, caught out in the open. 3,000 HP lead for top tier still, as they're comfortably on their way to their 3rd win of the series.
Yep, this is solid bounce from Feel My Potato on Aghako. That hurts a lot. And yeah, this is going to be a solid hold. Strong attempt from Aquatic. Very easily could have tilted into the favor of Aquatic and become just kind of a landslide win. But right now, it's top tier is managing to hold on with 7,500 hit points to the now 2,600 of Aquatic M60s. This is just a matter of time, and this is going to be a closer series than we could have expected.
And something we haven't talked about, the second 2 maps. So, okay, let's theorycraft here, assuming that top tier closes out, which it looks like they should. Muravanka's a 1-to-1 map, so that'll make it 4-to-2. The last map of the series is going to be Mines, a map that Aquatic M60s have been near unbeatable on in the past.
Yeah, and that's probably hanging around inside of top tier's head. They're just kind of waiting to get there, hoping that they don't have to, but they will. Because guess what? We are going to see both battles of Muravanka. We are going to see at least one battle from Mines, at least one. And that's only if we see Muravanka go in favor to top tier or Aquatic for 2 battles. It has to
be a 1-to-1. Top tier just can't win both. Top tier win both. They're 2 rounds away right now from securing the 4th and final spot to the live finals.
Yeah, and if top tier wins 2 on Muravanka, which is doable, right? But not necessarily expected. Muravanka's 50% wins map for top tier. Their defense is solid. Their attack needs work, but so does everyone's. But Aquatic M60s does perform a little bit better historically. About the same on defense, actually. Actually, literally the same stats on defense. On offense, though, it's a little bit different. 28% of the 7 for Aquatic M60s, and then on the other side, 9 battles is a little bit less consistent for Aquatic on attack. So top tier might have some kind of an edge in some senses as we go forward, but not enough to say that they should be able to take the whole map. So right now, looks tough for top tier. This is a late game for Aquatic M60s, waiting for them to just finish this one out, catch their momentum where they wanted it to. And looking at the post-battle stats real quick, look, 5,000 damage from exits again. This is again? Didn't he do a sick amount of damage earlier in the series?
Pretty sure he did. I think that was Delph, but I'll go back and check. And then looking at it, the Type 5s both doing 2,800 damage apiece, but the reset points coming out for the Type 5 of Delph getting 54, edging him out there a little bit.
And this one, 3-to-1 for top tier right now. That's tricky. That's tricky to come back from, because now Aquatic has to win.
Yep, Exits had a 3,700 damage game earlier, not quite 5K. It was during our first match where we saw, who was that? Durgel, I believe, had a great game in that mouse on Muravanka, did
Yes.
6K.
You're right.
So we've had some huge numbers up today.
We really have. And I think that also has to do with the fact that we're seeing more mouse, we're seeing a lot heavier, healthier tanks running around. So you're going to see a slight increase on just damage overall. But it looks like it is time for our next battle. It's going to be battle number 5.
Muravanka, a map with a great number of buildings, bushes and trees, amongst which teams hide for most of the battle. The attacking team begins the battle from the top of the village, and the defenders start from the bottom of the map. Both bases are better controlled from the hill near the first base, and from the green in the lower left corner of the map. There are many attack directions. The attacking team often attempts to gain the attention of defenders by putting pressure on the first base, whilst manoeuvring several tanks behind the second base to deliver fire into the defending's flank. Team setups are very diverse, but the players often choose the fastest tanks, even for heavy setups. They could even bring SPGs.
And Randall looks like he just saw his childhood crush once again, seeing Pompous and the Centurion Action X, as well as a mouse, a T57, 3 Batchats, and an AMX 1390. Meanwhile, Aquatic M60s, 3 mouses, 2 Batchats, and 2 Tier 9 bats. And one thing to note here, Veggie being dropped this round for Giggles to play that Tier 9 Batchat.
Yep. And just like my high school crush, looks like she goes the other way. And so Pompous is going to be on the east side. Thought Pompous was going to go west side, went east side. It just happens. You think things are going to work out, Rockstar, the way you want them to, and it turns out no chance. You didn't have a chance to start with.
First loves tend to be like that.
Yep. All right, moving right along. We've got east side for top tier. They're just going to set up a little bit of cover fire, preparing for that west side cap from Aquatic M60.
And this is very similar to what we saw earlier out of 07. However, top tier, Aquatic M60 is not as quick as Dare Rising were to get tanks on that cap.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of a deja vu feeling here. As
Ha 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 ha. And these two Batchats of Merles and X-Soldier getting in behind.
And it's cool. Exits, though, is all the way in the west. He's got cover on the cap. He'll be able to maybe get some resets, slip those in there. And we'll just have to see if Bales is going to be able to make his way into the southwest. If we see stuff like that, yeah, this should work out. But is this going to be a cap fast, is my question. Because Aquatic's already jumping on cap. There's a horde, just a mob of blue dots right now heading to the south. And Exits is on reload. He's super dead.
He got off what damage he could, and the mouse isn't going to be able to support him too much as these Batchats come screaming over the hill, and they focus him out. First volley goes in, second volley goes in and finishes him, and now they should wrap around. They'll have shots towards this mouse on the south, and look at the positioning of the mouses from M60s. They've turned around. They're looking for the north and from the middle, so it's going to be up to the Batchats from M60s to secure the south here, while these mouses look towards the north, and this is looking good for them so far.
So far, so good. Can we get a reset? X-Soldier is about to peek around. Spots, reset onto Felix, but still 13 seconds on cap. We need a reset onto Feel My Potato and onto Marsh, and that's going to be a bounce onto Feel My Potato. Looks like another one, but that's going to count for a reset, and we're going to get 20 seconds put back on the clock. We need to see one of the mouse go down. We need to see the kills.
And the mouses are going to choose to push forward. They're going to find the isolation onto Pompous. First shot goes off. He's going to try to get over the range. 900, 1400. Kill shot should come in from somewhere, but it looks like Pompous is going to get out. Muriel's still finding shots. Pompous still alive somehow, and HP's dead even.
Dead even, but look at the way the damage is spread. We've got focus onto Exits. He's completely gone, but there's so many tanks from Aquatic that are in a precarious position. 1, 2 little connections here or there could get the kill. And it's just gonna need to be just one little connection or one tiny opening is where top tier can slip in and just try and take this apart. Because as time goes on, Aquatic is just gonna become more and more frail. They're just going to become slightly
This
easier.
is their last chance. 8 seconds, 9 seconds on cap. They need to find a reset. They're guarding Dark Ninja with their lives. 18 seconds, and now the resets have all come in. HP's being bled. M60s were looking good for a second, but top tier did everything right. They spread out the angles. Giggles is going to come around here. He should be able to clean out X-Soldier. HP's actually falling back slightly in favor of M60s.
Top tier had to take a lot of damage in order to get this, but look at it, 4,000 to 1,000 hit points, Rocks. This is it. Top tier has managed to hold. 6 minutes left, Rocks. They're holding on. Yes, Pompous and Centurion Action X goes. Sure, we saw that coming. But Dark Ninja's dead. That's the cap gone. Mr. Man is it in the Batchat AP. He is it. This is the remnants of that attack. I gotta give it to Aquatic. That was probably one of the most competent pressures on cap that we've seen in a long time. Maintaining pressure that had a clock of less than 20 seconds for a while. You couldn't see a mistake by top tier.
It was really hard for them to hit that Batchat who was in between 3 giant mouses. And so they got the cap pressure there, and Mr. Man gonna go down to Delph. And that's gonna make it 4-1 in favor of top tier. But now Aquatic M60s get to defend.
Yes, they do. They will get to defend on Murrow. That's a chance for this to turn around and for them to come back where they have to now win 2 in a row. 3 in a row, excuse me. They have to win 3 in a row, Rocks. That's hard. That's difficult. That's something that usually you if you're doing okay, example, top tier, as up behind you is up with 4 points, it's when you're already winning, continuing to win usually seems fine. But when you are losing, rallying at that point and getting back into control is what is one of the most difficult things to do. But look at Aquatic. It doesn't look to me like they're shaken. It looks like they're still focused on victory. But now they're on the burner. Now they can't mess up. They cannot lose anymore. This is done. This is top tier going to our live finals. This is Aquatic M60s falling short again if that happens.
Yep, and speaking of Aquatic M60s, Mr. Man has been relatively quiet tonight. Normally he's a superstar performer for them on the season. So definitely someone we need to keep an eye on. And right now, timeout actually coming in for M60s, so we're going to have another minute here.
Good call by Aquatic. They actually used their timeout. This is something 07 I don't think did much of last series, if you remember. And this is a good way to reset. Put the other team on ice, maybe cool them down a little bit more while you get a chance to reconnoiter.
And Delph having another huge game, 4,600 damage, 90 fantasy points, 98 fantasy points. Pompous putting up good numbers, managing to stay alive. But X-Soldier, the real MVP that round, 120 fantasy points, getting some crucial resets while playing that 1-2 line. Even Rude Awakening got some big plays there, and at the end got some resets, 113 fantasy points himself.
Yeah, and so right now, here's what I want to kind of pose here is what can Aquatic do?
There was a couple misplays I saw that game. I liked the overall strat, but they needed to continue on down further south, especially those bad chats, including Mr. Man.
Yeah.
And while we have a second here, while they're having this timeout, let's go ahead and take a second to get to know Mr. Man a little bit better.
My team is in the playoffs because we worked really hard. We won the games we had to win, and we improved throughout the season. In the beginning, we started off kind of slow, but towards the end, we definitely started to pick it up in the second round robin and got the wins where we needed to.
Mr. Man needs to make a shot here. They have terrible DPM, but as long as he makes this shot count.
I got started playing this game because a bunch of friends at my school at the time asked me to play, and ironically enough, I never actually played with them, but I enjoyed it a lot. I love this game for two reasons. First, I really enjoy history, especially like around World War II with all the tanks and stuff. I love being able to play those tanks, and secondly, because I'm a big FPS fan, and this game kind of took elements from a first-person shooter and put it into tanks.
All right, and that was Mr. Man telling us a little bit about, him getting started into tanks, what got him into the game in the first place. A lot of these guys have been around for a few years now. So while
more than a couple.
yeah, while we know them pretty well, it's easy to forget where they came from and that they started as player just like anybody else in World of Tanks, just grinding out tier 1s,
Yep, exactly. Everyone had to start somewhere. And now we're finally ready for what could be our 6th and final battle of the series. Top tier are 1 round away from securing their spot to the offline regional finals. And let's take a look at the tanks they're going to try to do it.
All right, we're going to have top tier to start with a Mouse, 2 of them, 4 Bat Chats, and a Rude Awakening in the M4043. On Aquatic M60's side, we're going to have an IS-4 played by Felix, 1 Mouse, 3 Bat Chats, TVP, and Marsh 166 to take that RU1 or 251.
Yeah, Rude Awakening opting for that M4043. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more Artie on this map recently, with the Mouses especially.
Well, taking a tank out of an Artie position means you've just got 1 less tank to throw around such a massive battlefield, right? Because this is a map where mobility is a huge factor. Not the only factor, and certainly a lot of the time people weigh a little bit much on it. So it's about deciding, are we actually going to be able to put out damage with this artillery piece? Yeah, we can put shells wherever we want, but you've seen it. You try and fire over and over again, but players at this level, they know how to play against an artillery piece. They know how to be annoying to take a hit. They know how to make it as inconvenient as possible. Although here's something inconvenient. Marsh goes up for his opening scout run, takes 760. No, a little bit more. He's at 86 hit points, and he's about to go down. Barely escapes with his life. Still spotted. Could even take some damage.
X-Soldier is about to get caught out in the forest.
Oh,
they're going to come around. They're going to find him.
This is not good for top tier. They're going to lose X-Soldier. Return fire, though. I'm liking this. Dark Ninja takes almost all of his hit points. Mr. Man down to 700 and bails.
And Pompous down to 234. He goes down. That's 2 tanks down for top tier, but they're finding damage onto Muriel as well. And Aquatic M60 is going with the raw aggression and getting the better of it so far, and they're going to take this moment to disengage.
Yeah, however, look at this. This I think was not planned truly by anyone. This is an accident. This is both teams realizing they're so close that they should just attack each other. But you know what? They don't. They actually kind of fumble it, go for a little more aggression than they should, and everyone loses in the end. Because look at the hit points. Yeah, 8,300 for top tier, 9,511 for Aquatic. Really all this was just like boxers just running into each other and just kind of whacking each other in the face a little bit. It didn't really solve anything. It didn't change anything. No one's ahead for it too much. But everyone's just a little beat up over it,
Right. Well, but there's 2 tanks down off the field for top tier now, which is a huge problem, though.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of tanks like Mr. Man, Marsh, and Bales and Dark Ninja, which are that much easier to remove. And that's what I'm looking for to see if those tanks will prove to be kind of pitfalls for them. Will they fall through because of their lack of hit points and the need to kind of, keep their defense going? Look at the spread from Aquatic. They can't support each other in many areas of the map. One concentrated attack right now by top tier, they don't know it, but a concentrated attack could yield some results and get them their final win.
Yep, and the TVP of Mr. Man, who's still alive somehow on 358. He's actually down in the backfield covering the mouse in the IS-4 as these two almost full HP mouses for top tier push into this village, and these Batchats need to be careful not to be too complacent while these mouses may just push past.
Maybe so. They're going to start that cap. Artie's got the covers on this position, and actually we might see M4043 shell rain in on an IS-4 in just a moment. And there we go, a little damage onto exits you can see in the top right corner as he is in the view of Rude Awakening's Artie. IS-4 reaches out in the open. Let's see if this will connect. This could change things. Goes over.
Straight over.
Yep. All right, Rox, I want to take a listen in with top tier as they take this attack, as they try to hold on and pick up their final win. It's unlikely. Aquatic should be able to, but let's see what happens.
Get on this side. Get on this side.
Okay. Do you flank by two?
X, come on for you. X, come on for you.
Yeah.
Just focus him. Focus him.
Get up. Yeah, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Keep focusing. Keep focusing. Fight to the end.
Oh, here's
Kill the bats. Kill the bats. Kill the bats.
Nah,
fine.
we needed to win the kill.
Nah, I missed too many of my shots in the engagement.
It was a 4v5.
We joined him just to the latest possible moment. Sorry about that, audience. I was hoping to catch him when they were trying to get ready for that hold, but it looks like the focus was there. Rude knew the possibility existed for victory, but that it was thin, and he kept fighting for it. He kept his team focused on victory. Now they understand that it's over. Get yourselves under control. Reset.
And now Aquatic M60s get the chance to go on to mines to make their final hold.
Oh, look at this. 2, 1. Is he loaded? Does he load in time?
Nope.
And he gets it. Yes!
Oh, he does.
Rude gets the TD mode. Aha! Just a little style point to throw in there at the end. And that's going to be it. Aquatic holds on, puts their second point on the board, and starts their journey back into the series. Or, well, to see if they can make it, or if they get, completely...
Some really bold plays there coming out of Aquatic M60s, going for that forest push, running into those tanks and taking the trades and just going for it. And they managed to get the better of the trades. They didn't lose any. They took 2 Batchats down. And from that point, it was relatively comfortable. They didn't overreact, but they didn't underreact. They kind of kept the right distance. They had their guns together. They were all on the same page, and I really like to see that out of M60s.
I totally agree with that one. It was, I really felt like it could have gone either way after the first engagement, because to me it looked like the kind of thing where it was both teams really didn't think they were about to run into a significant force. It seemed like both teams were expecting to catch something out, right? Even with all this spotting, I think that Ex-Soldier underestimated the force that was out there in front of him. He gets taken down for it. Pompous, I don't know why they decided to continue aggressing on the side of top tier.
Well,
I think that on the side of Aquatic, it makes a lot more sense to take that engagement.
Once top tier spotted that first Batchat, other than the RU, they should have known something was up. Why they decided to sit there and try to possibly take that engagement?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like their other Batchats were there, so I get it. So they had 4 tanks there, but they had an artillery plus 2 mouses that were nowhere near that side of the map. So
yeah, it's one of those situations where you could have come out ahead, but your opponent did decide to, they did make the correct decisions, right?
Right.
They didn't fumble that aspect of the play. They knew what they were doing, you knew what you were doing, and yes, there was risk. There was potential reward as well. And top tier knew this could be the final battle. So if we stay aggressive, especially with that pressure on, that's one of the scenarios where you see teams make those crucial mistakes, right? When you're down in a series, one more loss and you're out.
Yep.
And your opponent just won't stop coming at you.
And I've said this before, we're going on to mines right now, which some of you may remember. Last season, M60s had a 17-2 record on mines last season. They were near untouchable. Their only loss came to Apex, I believe.
Yeah, and because of that, this should be a comeback for Aquatic. Now,
they have to win 3 straight to get here to our live finals. That's not an easy task.
Yeah, and well, they've just gotten number 2 on the board, so they just need 2 more wins. It's a tiebreaker. All right, we go to Prohorovka. The fastest win is something that we'll have to check on, but that will determine who gets sized and possibly out of Aquatic and top tier, if this goes to a tiebreaker, who's going to win in the end.
All right, well, that's enough talk for now. Let's see if Aquatic M60s can turn this around as we head into what could be our final map of the series.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations, but the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village and the other one is in the water. One of the key objectives is the center hill. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets for cover.
And here we go into battle number 7. Top tier, 2 Mouses, 3 Batchats, a TVP, and an RU-251. Aquatic M60s are going to try to hold on defense right now with an IS-4, a Mouse, a Type 5, 2 Batchats, an E4, and an M40-43.
All right, little arty, but nothing on the side from top tier. It makes a little bit of sense on attack, but how do you feel about when your opponent brings an artillery piece and you don't on mines?
Depends on what side you're on. On offense, it's actually not as big a deal, though you still have to make sure that you're kind of moving around, especially on the hill. That's the one thing that area really controls, or that Artie really controls, is that south end of the hill.
Oh, look at this opening damage. Dark Ninja actually lost his ammo rack, has to burn his kit on the high ground. And this is one of the things, sorry, we'll jump subjects real quick. Again, okay, I didn't see that coming. Felix just deleted Maril.
What?
Felix just deleted Maril. I don't even know where he was. I'm gonna just go find, here he is. Oh, Maril.
Hey, and that's exactly what I was just talking about.
Come on, Maril, what were you doing there? This is the spot where everyone dies against Artie.
That's the exact spot I was just talking about. If you're on defense with Artie, this is the one spot that you're counting on Artie to counter out. And Maril just shows us why. It's so close, the shell travel time's so quick, and that's one of the most common spots we see tanks get one-shotted.
The thing is, the curvature of that mountain, that hill, it feels, when you're a medium player on the top there, it just drags you in. You just want to cuddle up close right there, just get warm, just like, oh, nice safe mountain. You'll keep me safe, mountain.
Go towards the light, Randall, go towards the light.
2 years ago you kept me safe until they patched you, and now I keep thinking you will, but it's all a lie. It's all a lie. You're just there so I can just be waiting to catch Artie shells.
And Rude Awakening takes a shot.
Oh, nice catch.
For 749. I believe that was from Marsh, maybe, or the Artie. I couldn't see.
He's been firing up against Marsh, and also I think Artie was looking that way. Also, Morphic was as well.
Yep, and this is looking great for Aquatic M60s. They need to win back-to-back games to force overtime. And they're on track right now with this defense.
Delph looks like he's going for the classic little Batchat jump, and just barely isn't going to make it. Shell goes out from Mr. Man in the Type 5, and just a little too soon, and it sneaks past him.
And Morphic just hugging this rock down here in the south. Delph's going to make another approach at the climb.
Is he going to make this one? I don't know if you want to make this jump sometimes.
He doesn't have enough speed.
No,
he barely gets in there.
Just kind of glides up.
Takes a shot.
Oh, did Mr. Man just miss again?
I believe that was Morphic that got the shot there.
Yeah, Mr. Man in the Type 5 just wasn't able to get that connection. That hurts a lot. That's not fun. Type 5 really wants a connection here because
now that's going to be a 1v1 to keep an eye on. Delph versus Ninja, both at around 800 HP, so a relatively even fight.
Not bad. We'll have to see how that pans out later on. Mr. Man's not going to be effective against that high ground any longer, and so he's going to turn his tank around and face more towards the middle.
But guess what? There's no Artie for top tier, so he can sit right there up against that side next to where the Mouse is and be relatively safe.
Exactly. He can just chill out there forever. And guess what? The Batchat up top is going to have trouble making any kind of a play against him. Dark Ninja's got an advantage against Delph, because look at this. 374. Well, Delph is now at 502. 2 shells left, and he goes down. Now, that Batchat is Artie safe. So up on the east side, he can't take anything from an Artie. But at the same time, he shouldn't be able to win against Dark Ninja. Dark Ninja should be able to beat him out. And top tier's going to need to figure something out if they want to win on the east side of this map. If they want that Batchat to actually make use of himself, it's going to be tricky. And actually, Aquatic could shift their Artie to the west, couldn't they? They could actually probably get.
Would be a little bit risky, but yes, they certainly could.
You could get away with it, surely. mean, there's no one spotting exactly those positions, and you've got the coverage. If anyone were to pop out and try and take him down, you could probably time it right to, posture up, kind of, just puff up your chest, throw a mouse up there, and just kind of wiggle at him for a second, distract him while the arty moves across.
Yeah,
if they get the
certainly.
kill, punish for it.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility. However, it's still a risk no matter what. You're still relying on shots being landed and trades going out. And if you don't have to make that trade, sitting there questioning whether or not it's worth it at that point in time is another question. Meanwhile, Feel My Potato gonna kite these mouses around. They're gonna look for some shots on Feel My Potato. Morphic gonna get cover fire from the backfield, and now the push is gonna come out from the Batchats down the one line. Morphic tries to get a shot, doesn't land it. Bales takes some damage, and Top Tier trying to open up this defense.
Yes, they are. Sending X-Soldier to the west side is probably one of the most appropriate moves. It takes a lot of those turrets that are facing north, forces them to start looking a little bit towards the west, distracts Artie in that respect as well. And here's where you need to see Top Tier make the opening, right? They need to find that isolated tank and take him down. But they don't really have that advantage of it anywhere, do they? There's no real opening for Top Tier to come in, is there?
Yeah, no, there really isn't. And this Type 4, actually, or not Type 4, but this IS-4 getting some shots off towards the Kako, and now the heavy tanks are getting real aggressive on this hill towards these Type 4s as the Batchats down south are kind of keeping each other busy.
Yeah, this is the point where Aquatic realizes they have some kind of an advantage, right? They need to kind of go for the win. If they wait, they're just giving their opponent more time to figure out a plan and execute, right?
And Marsh taking a lot of damage. He's down to a one-shot. Bale's taking a shot as well in the Batchat.
Sure, it hurts. Okay, fine. But look at it. 11,000 hit points versus the 6,600 of Top Tier. Right now, it's in favor of Aquatic. Aquatic has this. Aquatic is in control.
And Bale's taking shots from Pompous in that TVP, and that's a tank down for Aquatic M60s, and this game isn't over yet.
Okay, I'm just saying, you say that. There's no way Delth did this. Delth just killed Dark Ninja. Okay. Delth just killed Dark Ninja, Rockstar. That is the crucial win that I didn't expect to happen. Delth came up to the top of that mountain with 3 shells worth of hit points left against a Batchat. A Batchat that was reasonably healthy. He just won that. He just got that kill, and now high ground control is going to Top Tier. This means that eventually they can just take Artie out. This means that you've got fire coming in from an alternate angle that you cannot respond against. This is good for Top Tier. Aquatic can still win. They still should win. But yes, Top Tier still is in the game, I guess you could say.
Pomp is looking for a shot over that ridge. Mouse is backing up back and forth here, trying to echelon to find some shots towards Feel My Potato and Mr. Man.
Here we go. Morphic might start taking damage from Delth. That's a possibility.
Big HE shot there on Dog Hako. And M60's still up by about 4,000 HP.
2 shells out from Delth. Looks like a decent amount of damage into Morphic, and they're going to start whittling him down. Now, X-Soldier can also start peeking in, although look at that, Hako's going down.
But and Felix gets the HE fire onto exits, and that's 2 tanks down back-to-back for Top Tier. So M60s are now hanging on here.
By a thread.
By a little bit of a thread. They have a lot of HP, and guns are now back in their favor, but that was looking sketchy to say the least.
And there's 1 minute and 54 seconds left, guys. This could still go to Top Tier. They can still deal the damage. Aquatic can also still hold on. They can still get the kills that they need. And Top Tier must win in order to get points. If this goes to time, Aquatic gets to put another point on the board. It's the important note. And with autoloaders, this is a TVP and 2 Batchats, Rocks. These are tanks which don't consistently fire. They have to disengage, reload, and then re-engage. Meaning, once they've dealt that damage, there's a bit of a lull. And you can see that right now, as Delth is on reload, Pompous has just gotten himself off of reload. And oh,
but
look at this.
He's now spotted.
Feel My Potatoes out in the open, taking damage from the high ground. That's our Batchat. Another one. Can he get 2 more out? 1 more, and that would be a significant amount of damage, but he's going to back off with 1 extra, and Pompous looks like he might be able to take down. Yes, that is the Type 5 out. And now with IS-4 Morphic, Marsh in the E4, Felix in an artillery piece.
50 seconds left.
And feel my potato in a mouse.
This isn't over.
This
is not over yet.
I don't think it's possible to deal the damage and cover the distance at this point. At this point, Aquatic should have it.
The TP is going to push in here and get the kill.
Solid play. X-Soldier's going to move in now against Marsh and against Morphic. Problem here is X-Soldier's pinched between two tanks.
And he bounces another. And the Morphic's going to come off the reload here in a second. He should pick up the kill.
That's going to be it. He gets
there we go. And now he can move around to the water side if he wants. He takes the damage from Delth up on the hill. He's going to turn to angle his armor. 10 seconds left. That's all M60s have to hold on for. Delth is going to come in here to try to find the artillery, but has to be careful not to kill himself as he slides down the hill. And Morphic picks up Pompous, though.
Oh, and a missed TD mode by Felix. Delth is at the very least. No, Delth doesn't get to kill Felix. Artie gets to live yet another day. And Aquatic M60s hold on for one more.
Wow.
One more, Rux. If they win one more time on mines, they are coming back from a 4-1 deficit all the way to tie it up. And if we go to a tiebreaker, it's going to be on Prohorovka. We've got one more on mines, though. And this entire battle was just... This was a scenario that looked like it wasn't going to work for top tier. And you know what? I got to give them a ton of credit because they made it farther. They made this closer than I ever thought they would be against Aquatic, who's playing tighter and tighter as the series goes long. Something they're known for, by the way, which is longer series.
And M60's just making that harder than it needed to be, but managing to hold on there. But that was the easy part. Now they have to attack on mines.
Exactly. Yeah, this is tricky. This can certainly fall short, but one bold, risky play early on, take control, dictate the pace. You are Aquatic M60s. They can bring this to a tiebreaker.
And look at the damage Delth did. Once again, I think that's for the second time tonight, doing over 5k damage, 1 kill, and 85 fantasy points. Pompous, a TVP, another 3,700 damage. Not bad. Muriel, the only one getting shut down that game, really, for top tier. Not really able to get into that fight, and understandably so, because Felix in that artillery had something else to say about that from the start.
Oh yeah, he did. Just completely deleted. That really hurts, and that's why Artie can be effective. Because yes, just one full connection, one full pen on an HE shell, and the bat chat's gone. That's it. A whole tier 10. One of your 7 guys is just gone. And that changes everything, because you could have been depending on that player for a crucial spot.
And the craziest thing is top tier almost clawed into that game.
Yeah.
They almost turned that around despite losing a full tier 10.
If there had been more time in the clock, maybe, because they started to speed it up and play risky. If they'd had just more time and they could have slow played it, yes. Which says you probably should have been trying to get into that fight or make those gains a little bit sooner. Had the jump been made the first time, right? Had our bat chat from top tier been able to get into the high ground on the east, the first try around, that's a whole minute shaved off, right? That's a whole minute maybe of dealing damage that otherwise wasn't happening.
Yeah, and the lineup that we're about to see coming out of both these teams.
Oh man, Rock.
Definitely some eyebrow raisers in there.
As we're about to get, I think we're about to head straight into it. This is going to be the last time we're going to see mines for a little while.
Can top tier get the 5th and final win that they need to secure their spot to our live finals, or can M60s force overtime? We're 10 minutes away from finding out. Top tier 2-1-13s, 4 bat chats, a T54 lightweight. Meanwhile, Aquatic M60s have to keep their heads above water right now. A mouse, 2 bat chats, a TVP, an STRV 103B, a Leopard PTA, the tier 9, and the M5355. Once again, top tier not bringing any artillery on mines.
Yep, that's an important thing to note. It's going to be Artie versus not. This is something that top tier's been doing here and there, and say what you will about it. Their results early in the series were fine. Later on, things are starting to slow down. Maybe that changes. And you know what? Aquatic M60s is going to do what I was thinking, and that's it. Early aggression. Do not waste time getting into position so that you do not get defeated by the clock. Yes, a little damage is dealt, but think about this. We're going to go to a listen-in with Aquatic M60s as they get into the fight.
There you go. Battle.
Sandy, get low, and just go to cap now. Go to cap. Hey, don't bleed down here, guys, don't bleed down.
They have a bet on hill.
Okay, Okay. Just get Dendy on cap.
Marsh, you have shots on 54?
I mean, all they'll have for resets is like a bat shack here. That's the
Here
only
you
thing
go.
they can get there.
I'm not loaded yet, though.
If you have 1-2, they're going to counter push K-line or push hard
Well,
north.
he's gonna be there, so just shoot.
Only two
If you don't
options.
have better shots.
I am late.
Shot out on 54. What? Should have splashed him some. I don't know how much.
We need to hold our HP down here, boys.
Okay, guess not.
Nice flash. Nice eyes.
Careful, Bells.
Nice.
Nice. Good
Nice.
kill.
Reload.
Good kill.
Reload.
I'm with. They have a guy here. They have a bat shack here.
Yes.
Yeah, I got
Got me
you.
splashing.
113.
I mean, dude, you know the
Nothing.
shots better than anyone.
Yeah.
So.
Well, work for Artin and work for Artin. They don't have really resets on
They don't have
Mars,
good
and
resets. We have to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
careful of the K-line YOLO. K-line YOLO or North YOLO. Those are the two things we have to be afraid of.
I'm gonna be spotting K-line.
North.
Do we have-
I'm
do
gonna
we
be
have to
dead.
push?
Unless,
Do we have to, okay.
help me with this bat shot.
TUP help.
Nice.
Nice.
That's good, that's really
Seconds
good.
on Okako.
-2 maybe from
I have
here.
shots.
I just hit a bat chat
Two
right
shots
here on the
from
corner.
here.
I just hit him on the corner.
Tracked.
He's backing up. He's
backing
out
up.
there.
Tracked.
Yeah, he just knocked down the tree.
Nice.
6 seconds.
Okay, another
Zits.
bat.
Bat.
Do we have to take this south? Do we have to take this south?
Bad
Their
check on
bat,
this one.
Three
Bad
shells.
check on
bat's
this
gonna
one.
be. Their bat here is low.
I'm
He's
reloading.
gone.
I'm reloading.
I think go south now.
How many shots do you have, Dark?
I have 3.
They're pushing.
Afraid.
Should we push? We need to make a decision.
Yeah, we gotta
113
push. We gotta
pushing
push.
north.
Let me wait. I have the HP.
Okay.
I can try to
Okay,
shotgun
you
the
need
bat.
to get forward and into
Bad
here.
batch it on the hill, man.
Ex-soldier.
-1.
Was.
-1 ex-soldier.
113 shot me. Okay, Morel won't have shocks.
I don't really have anything because I'm looking for the bat.
Loaded.
What do you want me doing?
Wait.
You gotta get damage on
I
something.
have
man.
1 shell.
Hey.
Invite me.
113 shot me. I'm 1 shot.
How many shells do you have, Bells?
Full.
I
We
don't know if they have
cannot.
someone
We
hill.
cannot.
I think they'll have someone
Yeah,
hill.
they have.
Can we light that bat for Marsh?
I'm stuck behind the
Felix,
rock because
you
there's a
gotta
bat right next to me.
Try to cross if you
This
can.
1-on-3 is just going to bully me.
I think, because we gotta get that bat out, man.
Looking for
Those
Pompous.
are gonna have to get ex-soldier at some point.
Pompous. Fight.
I can try to cross to the rock bales, maybe.
M60s are holding on here, but this is not looking good. The 113 in their backfield, and Mario with a full clip up on the hill. Felix gonna push in, trying to open this up.
And he's actually going to pull the gun from X-Soldier just long enough. X-Soldier does put a shell out, but Dark Ninja gets the connection and the kill. And now 4 tanks alive for top tier. Pompous barely alive. He has 77 hit points. 1 connection will finish him, and that comes from Veggie.
And that just turned this game over. All of a sudden, this is looking doable for M60s. They still have 6 guns alive. Akako taking some damage from Feel My Potato. A lot's going to come down to Feel My Potato in that mouse. He has to use his armor well. He has to blow this 113 out before these bat chats can get in here.
But look at that, Akako sneaks one into Veggie in the TVP, and that's going to be a gun off the battlefield. They need to get Dark Ninja. They need to get Felix and Bales out of here before they're able
And
to...
Felix has a shot on Akako. He's looking for it. Akako trying to stay safe. Felix going to snap one off. He doesn't get connection.
Slips just over right next to his turret even, before just barely missing. And Marsh, who has stayed alive, by the way, when otherwise many artillery pieces would have been dead by now.
And Muriel, the full health bat chat for for top tier, pushing in the backfield here. He's gonna find Felix. Felix is a 2-shotter.
Zero's the target, fires 1 on the move, takes a risk. Second one's gonna connect, and he's gonna barely slip in the last one. He's got 2 shells left. Those can be saved for Marsh 166, or if he decides another target. But where is
My
Marsh?
Potato takes down Akako. Already puts a shot onto Muriel. And this is back and forth stuff. HP almost even. 2 tanks left alive for top tier. 4 alive for Aquatic M60s, but HP is literally even right now.
Just about as close as you could expect. Exit's going to be able to back off. I like this. Good play. But here's the thing. Aquatic M60s, because of this, gets to kind of reconnoiter. They get to lay it out again, focus up, set up new positions. Because of that, top tier knew where some of these tanks were, or at least got the idea of the general area. Dark Ninja spotted in the open and exits, misses. Next one, not gonna be able to find the target. Exits is gonna need to back off. And here's a chance Artillery could rein in, get a hit onto Exits, and that's over. Shell out, and 151 near, but not on the target.
But now Muriel knows the Artie just fired, so he can close, and this Artie's completely exposed.
Oh, Exits is playing this so risky. He's just backing off, peeking out, getting himself spotted, making sure his opponent knows exactly where it is. Why? Because they needed to find where Marsh was, right?
And Muriel's gonna come around. He's gonna put a shot into Marsh. He's gonna track him. Marsh is gonna repair it, try to back up. He doesn't get it though, and 3 guns left alive for Aquatic M60s, 1,200 HP. Can they hold on to force overtime, or a top tier about to secure their spot to the live finals?
Yeah, and on the cap, there's nothing on the cap. The thing is, the pressure's not going to be there from Aquatic. They're not going to set that timer. And so top tier, because of that, with 3 minutes on the clock, can look at other options to try and delay. For example, this. Look at Exits right now. Where is he heading? Up to the northeast, Rox. He's going to go for the jump, I'm guessing, or he's just going to kind of stow himself back there. I'm not sure which one it is, but you know what? It could just work out as an ambush, as Dark Ninja is heading that way right now.
Yep, and Exits.
Oh, if he spots this.
He's a high roll away from dying. 442 is unlikely, but very possible. And Dark Ninja doing the climb perfectly first time?
Oh, we never see this climb.
We've seen it a couple times, but not recently.
I don't remember seeing it in a pro match at all.
Yeah, we've seen Canadian Impact do it.
Oh, he does?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And Dark Ninja.
Did he almost flipped himself right there? Oh no, I think he doesn't realize he's on the cap, and this is what top tier probably is expecting, right? This is what you're going.
They don't know where they are. And Dark Ninja just floating around in the open, and no one's there to cover him.
If Exits knocks over the tree next to him, because you can't see it very well right now, but I'll zoom out. There's a tree right next to Exits, and look at this. If he knocks that over, that tree is actually going to tell Dark Ninja, because he's a good player.
And Muriel's going to get spotted taking the hill.
Exits.
Potato's going to back up.
Exits finds Dark Ninja. He takes a shell. Dark Ninja doesn't. And now it's a one-on-one. Whoever gets the first shell out, it could even be a simultaneous kill. Whatever happens, happens. But Muriel even moves in. Muriel's got the flank. Dark Ninja is going to have his gun pulled, but Bales is on the high ground. Shell goes out. Connection.
But Dark Ninja picks it up.
And now Dark Ninja looks. Muriel gets the kill. And now it's Feel My Potato versus Muriel. Muriel is 1 shell from death. He has 86 hit points.
Feel My Potato can't cap right now. This is top tier about to walk away with 86 HP to get their win to make the series 5-3.
And
but Muriel's playing mind games. He thinks Feel My Potato turned around.
No. He's in the open. He doesn't realize if he's caught out.
5 seconds. Oh!
No, he stops. Muriel's behind a building. It's okay. But he knows Feel My Potato is loaded. And here's the tricky part. There's just enough distance that if Feel My Potato decides to just drive at Muriel, he could catch just enough momentum. There's a chance he could kind of get onto the right side of the building and get the connection that he needs. He just needs to go wide enough to not get proxy spotted before he goes around that corner.
Muriel doesn't know which way.
Yeah, he can't know. He has to look for context clues. Trees getting knocked down.
He doesn't know where Feel My Potato is. He's lit.
He can't see him. That's because
Feel My Potato. He's going to do it!
And Aquatic,
he gets the win!
Aquatic M60s holds on, ties up the series. And I'm going to have to wait for word from our admin to tell us who's going to get call at the tiebreaker. This is going to Prohorovka. And that's it. Okay, recap the series. First battle, Aquatic M60s picks up a win. Second, top tier turns it around and picks up their own. But not only did they pick up a win on battle number 2, they made that then 3 more to bring it up to a 4-1 lead. And now Aquatic M60s has just come back from that and has tied up the series. And that is as close as you can get. That is it. The one-on-one at the end, and the only thing that could have changed is Muriel just needed to, if he looked left instead of right, if he just went forward instead of back, if that, just arbitrary little things that he could have done could have changed the entire battle. That could have been a win for top tier. They just barely let it get away because
that mouse, Feel My Potato.
Yep.
He had one play to make. He only had one opportunity because once he closed distance, Muriel could have ran circles around him.
Yeah.
Once he got unlit, he knew he had to pick one direction and stick to it. and somehow he lit the bat chat around that corner before he got spotted.
That's what I was talking about when I was looking at it, because the situation is this. If you approach directly at the building and then you try and pick a direction because you proxy spot your enemy, that's not as good as just going. Because here's the thing. What do you expect your opponent to do? Take a cautious, well-measured approach to defeat you, right? I will then take a cautious, well-measured approach to counterplay him. But when your opponent does things which don't fit into the normal realm of options, that's why it's said that amateurs are more dangerous than professionals many times. Because guess what? Just like the APAC teams a lot of times at our global finals, you throw something at your opponent that doesn't add up normally to them. But you do that deliberately. You do it tactically, and it pays off.
Yep, and Aquatic M60s actually didn't get the tiebreaker choice. It was actually went to top tier, and they're choosing to defend on Prokhorovka. This is one final battle to decide which of these two teams is going to join us here for our live finals to keep playing on for that $325,000 prize pool.
Oh, sorry. Look at that replay right there. I loved seeing that. Mariel gets the kill at the same time as Batchat, but guess what? Who's faster? One who knows to look to the side and paying attention to his surroundings. Fortunately, Mariel's not able to keep that one up. Gets maybe in his own head, you know? And this. Oh, I just want to watch this moment one more time.
Oh man. What a game.
That was just...
What a game.
Yeah. That's something that we're going to hold on to for a while and probably revisit a few times at the season finals even. But look at the post-battle stats. Here's the thing. Marsh stayed alive longer than I honestly think top tier should have let him, right? He was in that backfield pinned down.
Yep, he should have gone down a lot sooner. And to be fair, Marsh didn't really capitalize on staying alive for as long as he did because he should have gotten a couple more connections after that point, especially on Dog Hako.
Yeah.
And that could have made that game a bit easier for M60s just because top tier gave him the opportunity for him to stay alive.
But you heard him on comms, right?
Yep.
He believed that he would have gone down had he peeked out. And that was his choice. From our perspective, we could tell that he was safer to continue doing his work. But as far as he knew, there was a bat chat waiting for him to fire in order to just run in there and get a kill with zero risk.
Yep. Well, we are ready for our last battle of the playoffs. Let's see what happens.
Prokhorovka, one of the first maps in the game. Teams start at the regular spawn points as they do in standard battles. Bases are separated from each other by the railway, so the defending team has to choose whether to send their vehicles to the left side, playing them in the center, or to the right of the railway, occupying the hill and a part of the village. The attacking team usually attacks the first base. However, the teams often go for face-to-face confrontations, 7-on-7, in the hilly terrain at the center. That's why both teams frequently use vehicles with good gun depression angles and sturdy turrets.
And top tier, an IS-7, a Mouse, 3 bat chats, an STRV 103B, and an RU 251. Aquatic M60s, an IS-7. Feel my potato playing that Mouse once more. 3 bat chats, an STRV 103B, and an RU 251.
So it's going to be a mirror matchup.
Once again.
A cherry on top for your playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. They're just going to say, you know what, bring the same tanks, whoever's better wins. And we're going to go to a listen-in with Aquatic M60s as they begin their attack.
So I'd give it like a 2 out of 10. That's good.
Yeah, that's too nice out of you.
It's better than the 1 out of 10 that I thought.
I'm lit, so they did something here.
Are you?
Kick the shit out of him.
That's
tank up at A6. Batchat's -1. Batchat's -1. You gotta pick that bat. He's gonna kill me. They're blowing down my houses. Okay, this guy's -3. This guy's -3.
Yeah, we need to go. Let's go.
The S tank is up here.
STRV. Bad shot -1.
X-Soldier. I'm coming.
X-Soldier.
Focus, guys, focus. Please.
Nice. X-Soldier, reloading. X-Soldier, one more.
I could get him.
Nice. Reload.
I7. Do we want to keep control here with the I7 or no?
No, we want to get the IS-7
I'm getting
down
shot by the Mario.
We want to use the IS-7 in the water.
My gun is damaged, by the way.
Where do you want me to rotate, Felix?
Okay. I think we need to get one of the bats up high.
Yeah, because I can't go.
Dark, you want to go up there? You want me to go?
No, go. The mouse needs to go here.
Felix, you want me to go in A0?
We need the bat up at A0, and then Marsh can push up the water because their bat is still here.
Oh, this boat.
Mouse, STRV.
STRV.
Their bat is still on the A?
He has to
not
be at
sure.
8, dude.
Yeah, he has to be.
couldn't have gone out.
Minus 800 HP maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he's at about 1,000.
Be careful, Veggie. Be careful. We can get lit. Don't
Pushing
shoot.
up.
Don't shoot whatsoever. Just try to spot through the bushes.
I need help.
Trying, I'm not getting anything.
No.
Oh, my gun is damaged.
I can't spot him really. Well, I have to be exposed to the STRV to spot him.
Okay, can somebody cover this?
All right, and you can see it right there. Rude Awakening slipping into the backfield and able to spot Mr. Man, taking him down to half hit points. A moment ago, it looked like Aquatic was in a comfortable but very slight lead, a bit of control over their opponent. And now there's an RU. Rude Awakening's probably going to pick himself up.
And a bounce on Marsh. Marsh trying to find Fixer reloaded.
On the other side of the map, IS-7 versus a Bat Chat. And yeah, this the Cucaracha
he's a one shot.
He has only one shell too.
It's a high roll. Now are you taking damage? The HP so close, but about 1,500 in favor of top tier. Marsh trying to pull forward, making sure the shot counts. 490, he rolls average, but now there it is. Veggie picks it up, and now that frees up Marsh to get in here.
A little risky plays right there. RU in the back. I'm watching to see what he's able to do. Veggie, yeah, I wondered if he was about to drown there for a moment. He's able to stay alive. Pompous in the 103B is still at full hit points, but he's all alone. No support there for him. And I'm worried that if he can't get out of that position, move around and get some support, he isn't. It's delicate.
The backfield's open now that Rude, where'd Rude disappear to?
Rude?
Oh,
Rude's
he's still in the backfield. Never mind, he's still in the backfield.
Yep, Rude's about to actually take the high ground, which Mr. Man's not exactly in control of. He's not quite on top of the hill anymore. So actually, Rude Awakening could use that as a good vantage point to actually deal a significant amount of damage. He could take down Dark Ninja. Dark Ninja's in a spot where Rude could probably sneak 2 shells in, get reloaded for a reasonable response. Oh no, look, Mr. Man, he decides to move to the top of the hill at the wrong time. Rude Awakening is waiting there for him. Support fire comes at the right time in the right place, and there is the major damage dealing tank for Aquatic off the battlefield. This is looking like it's about to end. Top tier could close this one out if they stay strong. Aquatic can hold on. It's getting thinner though.
And Rude picks up the kill onto Marsh from the hill.
It's ever closer. 3 tanks alive. Mouse, 2 Bat Chats. There's a lot of options.
And Dark Ninja trying to get in here to find Rude. Try to open this up. They're down by about 2,000 HP.
Dark Ninja wants to try and climb, but the most frustrating thing in the world.
Feel my potato. Taking a lot of damage.
Dark Ninja's wasting time trying to get into position. Finally gets up and over. And with that, yeah, Rude's going to keep being able to deal damage. And look at it. One more shot onto Feel My Potato, and it's over. And there he goes. Rude Awakening into RU251, getting that connection. We're going to have to look at the damage and the stats he pulls at the end of this one. That was a tier 8 light tank taking down a mouse.
Yep, and it's going to be down to Veggie and Dark Ninja for Aquatic F60s trying to hold on here. Dark Ninja in the backfield trying to find some shots, but Akako still has full HP, and he is not one to misuse that HP. No. Great heavy tank player. Rude's closing the distance as well. Dark Ninja doesn't know where they are. He's creeping forward ever so slightly.
And he has a high ground position. If this is something top tier can fumble, they can mess this one up, is the way I would describe it. That's about as much as you could hope for if you're Aquatic right now. You're hoping that your opponent top tier doesn't take you seriously.
And the bounce onto Delph. Dark Ninja has one left. He fires it blind. But that's going to leave Veggie to fend for himself as Dark Ninja is going to start his reload and drive away.
Yeah, Veggie's pinned. They don't realize that he has only 1 shell left. So there is that. There is Dark Ninja being as mobile as he is, and Rude Awakening being a small, very light, not very healthy tank. Rude could be dealt with easily. But the thing is, Veggie's not going to be able to stand on his own, is he? He can't.
No, he's a one-shot Bat Chat. He's going to die here as soon as gets... Oh, and Pompous gets the ram.
And look at this, 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the battle. Dark Ninja has 1 mission, and that is this: stay alive and get resets on cap. That's it. If he could do that, he can win. Then Aquatic can go to the finals. Sorry, yeah. Aquatic, is on attack.
They're attacking.
I'm so embarrassed by that one. I just got him.
Kako misses a shot, and that's going to allow Dark Ninja to get some more shots off.
Oh, God. It's the other way around. You're
get
attacking
one more.
Aquatic. You have to get some serious kills here. He has to. I think he needs to ammo rack the
Nope,
eyes.
and Akako picks up the kill and secures it for Top Tier. Top Tier are going to be the 4th and final team coming to our live finals. They will join Elevate, Eclipse, Dare Rising, and now Top Tier. The 4 teams
That
are finals.
Here for our finals. All right. And you know what? That was close. Top tier had a rough time getting that win in the end. They started early very well. Much better than we even expected. Picking up a win after an initial loss. But they had match point all the way to that tiebreaker, and they just weren't able to do it. They were trying and trying.
And M60's held on.
Yeah.
And it looked good early on for them here. They got these batch hats down. The problem was is they kind of fumbled things after this point. They got in here, they get the batch hats down, but the momentum stalls out. Top Tier takes the position with the heavy tanks in the middle, and they didn't use their flexibility to open up the map.
Well, and also look at this. The focus fire is good from Aquatic, but you have to look at Top Tier's positions. They were ready for this, and there was enough damage that Aquatic really didn't come out ahead of that fight. They really fell behind at that point. And from then on, the entire match was them trying to find another advantage because they were at the ever so slightest disadvantage, right? Because they're in the enemy territory. They have cap pressure to worry about and time. Everything's against them. And they just couldn't quite find that opening. Top Tier wouldn't give it to them. They almost did. They almost got too aggressive.
Yep, if anything out of M60s, I would like to see those batch hats may back out, go find Root earlier, open up the backfield, open up the map, because they only had the 2 heavy tanks and the S-tank left. But I digress because Pompous in this S-Tank, 4,000 damage, finally having the big game tonight. He's been relatively quiet tonight.
And look at that RU-251 from Rude Awakening, picking up 84 fantasy points, 2,071 damage. A lot of that going into the mouse, middle of the map, helping out quite a bit actually in turning the tide.
Yep, and Bales had a pretty quiet game. He got focused out early on. Mr. Man had a really rough game in that S-Tank, and Felix was out in front, got picked off. Pompous putting up 2,600 damage. Much better night than I thought he had.
That was
520
average.
fantasy points.
On average, every single battle, that's how much damage he did. Almost 3K. That's something that used to be expected as kind of a fluke. Now it's just normal for him.
Yeah, puts up great numbers, as does X-Soldier, 456 fantasy points. Not bad. And Rude Awakening in that tier 8, doing great. And looking at the top fantasy players for the evening, Pompous, Delth, Rude in 3rd place. X-Soldier exits, Mr. Man, Akako, and so forth. So pretty good stuff there.
If you're playing fantasy and you stacked Top Tier, you are in luck.
Yep, and
good
then
for you.
Mako, Stark Ninja, Aggressor. A lot of great performers tonight. Some great matches that we have had, but only 2 could go on to our live finals.
Yep, and taking a look, this is an example of the bracket that we will have for our finals. You can see Top Tier Aquatic just happened. Top Tier will move on to play Elevate at our live finals, and Dare Rising against 07. Dare wins, and they will face Eclipse at our finals. That's 1st and 2nd of last season, 1st and 2nd again going into the finals for this season. See if we can see Top Tier or Dare Rising shake things up.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll have to see what they're able to do. One heck of a series. I'm still trying to catch my breath after that one.
Yep.
That was great.
Yeah, and actually, I think we're ready right now. We've actually got Rude back on Skype to talk about that win. Rude Awakening. Sir, that
was a roller coaster ride.
You play with my emotions, sir. You start that one off with a loss. It's a little rough on Himmelsdorf, but then you guys turn that around, and you get a bunch of wins all in a row. Ghost Town all the way into Muravanka. But what happened in Muravanka?
Mistakes happened. Look, I'll be honest. The one meeting no one would want to be in would be the next scrim of Top Tier.
I see. So that you're thinking based of this performance, there's going to need some changes in order for Top Tier?
No, but people are going to hear an earful. I will tell you guys that a tier 8, me, I'm not supposed to be doing the damage. I'm not supposed to be making the mistakes. Like, I'm the one who's supposed to be scouting and dying first, like most of the time. Today was a mess. We got off to a really good start. Obviously, one thing I have to say is, out of all the teams in this playoff, I actually really feared AM60s the most. I knew they're a damn good team.
Yeah,
damn good team.
They proved that. From what we were seeing against you guys, it was back and forth, and I couldn't really point out mistakes as much as it looked like one team or the other every single match was just making the play. It's what it looked like between the two of you guys. And that had to be tough to deal with, right?
Well, for them, I mean, I'll be honest, like, it's just a little tiny mistakes on our side, and if they already couldn't do like 4K damage per game, we would have been okay. But like, it made it so difficult. Whoever was playing Artie on that team today, like, you know, they did a really good job at clicking.
Yeah, they did. They clicked their hearts out. And then what about this? You've made it through all of that. And you get to the tiebreaker, and you manage to get the win. Good job on the RU play, by the way. That was great. How do you feel now? You've just earned your way to the finals. You just finally made it. How's that?
Well, I told my team when we went together, and I think I tried out like 20 different players for this team, maybe more. One thing I told this team is that from the very beginning, I said, I am not going to make any money. Like the division of money will be me 0% unless we make the finals, the LAN finals. And I said that to my team, telling them that yes, like I'm all in, and I want them to be all in as well. And I just really hope that a lot of the mistakes, and I mean a lot of the mistakes, the rookie mistakes that were done today, get corrected.
Yep. Well, Root, overall, this is now I believe your second time coming to a live final. How does it feel to be back?
You know, I look forward to having some drinks with you.
Fair enough.
All right, watch yourself. He's dangerous. He's a dangerous guy. All right, any final words?
See.
Final words for your fans and your supporters out there, Root, because that was a performance, sir.
Look, guys, you know, we're a new team. We're getting better every week. We have up days, down days. Today was just a great competitor that we faced, and I'm really glad we came out on top.
Thank you so much, Rude. You are a gentleman and a scholar. It's always wonderful to have you on. And we will see you at the finals. See you in Burbank.
Thanks. See ya.
Yeah. Oh, man. That is the kind of person you want as a battle caller, right? Just listen to that. He doesn't want to take money unless they finally do something with it and it pays off. He does everything right. He's exactly what he's the perfect model.
Well, to think this is a team that formed during our offseason that came through the Gold League qualifiers this last season, and now they're here. Now they're going to our live finals. And something to think about.
Yep.
2 seasons ago, Eclipse, they came in to the 4th seed into our live finals. It's a storyline that's happened over and over again. Elevate came in as a 4th seed.
It's what happens. You form a team. You take the time to worry about the roster. You don't try and keep the old guard around. You blow it up, put it back together, bring it into the league. Maybe you need a season to get used to yourselves. But after that, you can catch some real momentum, and then you can become a team like top tier.
All right, well, now that we know who's going to our playoffs, let's throw it to somebody who knows exactly what's going on and where you can get your tickets. Our correspondent, Alex.
Thanks, guys. First of all, huge congrats to every team that competed today, and for those of you making it to the finals. Those were insane matches, and honestly, just a tiny taste of what's going to be happening at the finals. So if that wasn't enough, get your tickets right now. The URL is right here on the screen for you guys. Come hang out, eat pizza, and watch Tanks with us. We'll watch some more crazy matches from these teams. Also, keep following us on social. We're going to be keeping you satiated for the next month up until the finals. Also, just want to say a quick thank you to the community and for the crew for letting me come hang out with you guys. I've had an incredible time. It's been really fun to watch it. And with that, let's go back to Randall and James for some final thoughts.
Thank you so much, Alex. It's been wonderful having you here. I know she's had a ton of fun, and she'll probably be. You might be able to see her at the finals as well, guys. So let us know on Twitter. This has been the playoffs, Rox.
What a match it has been. My heart is still racing.
This is also the end of our regular season. You won't see another regular broadcast here in the studio. The last time you're going to see us for a little while is going to be our grand finals in Burbank. That's April 8th. You don't want to miss out. And in the meantime, we'll try and keep you entertained. Anyway, Rox, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Next season, we'll see you guys. And don't miss out. This is the WGLNA.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Big Dave. And when I'm not wrangling cattle, I'm right here wrangling you new deals. Now this here is a 2007 Ford Mustang, less than 100,000 miles, full leather interior, a CD player, and air conditioning. Woo-wee! Now how about this 2005 Nissan Quest? You're on a quest for a new car. Why not this family-sized van, new paint job, new transmission, and it seats 7. Maybe not in store for something for the family? Well, I got something for you. How about this tank? Hooey! That there's 60,000 pounds of American-made steel. Now, I can't tell you what war she was in, because that's confidential. But what I can tell you is that she can get 3/4 of a mile to the gallon, and she's great for off-roading. Now, some of you may be thinking, Big Dave, what am I gonna do with the tank? Well, I say, partner, the better question is, what won't you do with the tank? Here at Big Dave's, we don't camouflage our prices. Our savings are out in the open. Cool! Now, this may be something one of our competitors may try to pass off to you. Not here at Big Dave's. Here at Big Dave's, we crush the competition. We're winning the war on savings. So come on down to Big Dave's Used Car Ranch. Take the North 101, exit 48, take a left on Main, and don't stop till you see the giant tank. Cool!